Hello and welcome to the Nash Tackle Off the Hook podcast. This week's guest, professional Casper Schmeichel lookalike. No, I'm joking. Top Carpy all-rounder, great videographer, and Leicester's finest, maybe half of Leicester's finest duo with his brother. It's none other than Dan Wildbore. But before we bring out Dan, I've got Mr. Henry Lennon in the studio for a bit of Nash news. Henry, how are you?
I'm all right now. I'm good now. I've been out of action a couple of weeks with COVID and then tonsillitis, and
You've had a rough time, mate.
I have. Yeah, I don't like being ill. I don't normally get ill, and it was no, it wasn't fun. But I'm good now. I'm back on the road to recovery.
Back fighting fit, healthy, and you've celebrated your comeback with a...
What a carp! What a carp! We've been seeing a few of the bigger fish in the office lake. It's full of little ones, the office lake, but there's a few bigger ones, and I've been seeing a few recently. And yeah, I just went round and saw a massive head in the edge. Thought, yeah, I'll have a go on that, and then just caught this fish, which is about 4 foot long, and it's the skinniest thing I've ever seen. It's
like an eel.
Oh yeah, it's a rough. It looks like how I've felt over the past couple of weeks, I think.
Nice, mate. We got Dan Wildbore on.
Leicester boy.
Leicester boy, indeed, the best Leicester connection here as well,
yeah.
mate. You're local to the Shire.
Yeah.
Dan Wildbore, your last experience with him wasn't probably the most.
Well, not my last experience, but probably one of my first experiences was pretty bad with him. And man, that's when Dan's told the story of Nash. That was he was present for that. So yeah, I embarrassed myself the first time I met him, but
You've made up for it, mate.
Slowly regaining, and I think he's starting to think that I'm not a complete idiot.
He's carpy, isn't he, as well?
Yeah. Oh, everyone I did Nash to was all very carpy. They're all the people you don't want to do that to.
Never mind, mate. You know what I mean? Like,
Can't
first impressions aren't everything. You're all right.
Set the bar low, and then you can only get better from there.
Exactly. What we're going to talk about on the theme of carpy is a little bit of a double-edged sword here. We've got British carp record, which is always a contentious point, but on top of that, a bit of internet trolling. You'd have seen recently in the angler media a 14-year-old lad catching the fish, if you like, from home fen and putting it in for a record claim. Mm-hmm. Two things. Where do you stand on the British record with regards to potential imported carp, etc., and the backlash that he's had and subsequent others have had historically with regards to putting in record claims for said fish?
It is a really tricky one, because it's like, at what point do you draw the line that it's not a British carp and it is a British carp? Because so many of the fish now, they are technically not British fish, because I mean, if they've come over and they've spawned just one generation, then what's really the difference from bringing it over at sort of like, I don't know, 10, 15 pounds and it growing on? I don't really get the difference.
Where would you draw the line? I've got him here.
I don't know, because for me, I think the simplest way to do it is the biggest fish of that species caught on modern line in that country is the record. That's how I see it, because I think that's the only way you can monitor it. Because at what point do you say, if it's born here, if it's brought over here and it can take the British record, but at what weight does it need to come over? And then, like, let's say they say it's 10 pounds. Well, what if it's 10 pounds and 1 ounce? Then that doesn't count if it grows onto the British record. And then it's like, well, how many generations would it have to have spawned on? It's just, for me, I just think the simplest way to do it is the biggest fish caught in this country on modern line. Because also I think that we're losing so many of those British strains now that it's probably never going to be beaten. I think it's going to be really tricky to beat it.
I'm sort of with you. I'm in two camps. I think either you scrap it all together and it's done, and there's no debate, there's no contentious points, and there's no room for what has happened to people with regards to trolling, or you do exactly as you said, which is, in essence, if you say British record, that is the biggest fish in weight caught on these shores, and that would be that Wingham Common that was 80 odd pounds spawn bound, but that is the British record for hook or by crook. How sort of worthy that is as a capture is irrelevant, because the definition of British record is the biggest carp caught on our shores.
Yeah, that's how I see it. And I think that's the way you can be sort of most certain and not have any of these like dubious claims with it. I think that's the easiest way. But then also I get people's arguments saying, no, it's going to be a British fish with British strain. Like, I do get that. But I just think it gets so complex and the waters get so muddy that it's so hard to police that. And then I just feel like down the line we're going to get to the point where matey's just caught that young lady's caught marshals who's got denied, maybe in 20 years' time, that same sort of scenario, maybe it would be accepted. And it's like,
if you caught it, would you claim it?
Yeah, just to say I claimed a British record. I wouldn't expect to get it, but I think just to say,
yeah,
little ego thing probably.
Off the back of that, obviously, said 14-year-old lad, apologies for not referencing his name, but maybe he doesn't want to be referenced. Obviously, there's been a lot of flack with regards to that. There's been people historically in the past, big rig, etc., that have caught big rig, and the same thing has happened on the internet with regards to people trolling them, even death threats and such. I mean, I know where you stand on that, but what are your thoughts with, you spend a lot of time social media wise with regards to your job. What are your thoughts around that?
I think people do it are losers. Honestly, like, as simple as that. I think if you're going out your way to like really criticize someone and like go hard on someone over fishing, I just think you're a loser. Like, I really do. Like, there's no other way around it. That is honestly how I see it. Like, when I see people commenting and getting in like these Facebook wars and stuff, or like comment wars on social media, I just look at it and go like, come on, guys, like, it's fishing. I get that you have thoughts, but at the end of the day, that those thoughts revolve around your fishing only. So like, don't push them on other people and get to the point where people get really aggressive over it. I just think like, come on, take a look at yourself.
Especially if it's a kid, mate. You wouldn't have a go at a kid in the street.
Yeah, I know. That's another. It's the classic thing. Like, oh, keyboard warriors, you wouldn't say it to someone's face. But for me, I just see it and honestly just think, just grow up. Like, there's more things to be worried about.
There's been a spate of it recently. We got the back end of the football. We got all that stuff with regards to trolling in different aspects around sort of mental health, people's well-being, potentially people's careers as well. Because if someone says something about someone, a lot of the time people don't look into the sort of the genuine nature of that. They'll just take it as gospel, and mud stick sort of thing. But do you think there's any way that there's call for sort of Facebook monitoring that, or Instagram monitoring that and sort of getting rid of that type of stuff? Is there any way, do you think, of filtering that? I've no idea.
This is going down a completely different route, way outside and way bigger than carp fishing. But back off the back of the England, the players who got racially abused after missing the penalties, and a lot of people going, oh yeah, the social media accounts should be held responsible, and I do think they should be held responsible. But even that, I find is it's a very difficult thing. It's just very easy to say you should be held responsible. It's the same with going back to the racism thing, saying people can tackle racism through education, like they need to be educated. It's very easy saying that, but like when you actually look at the actual, like the policies you do to achieve that, and how the actual nitty gritty to achieve that, it's a lot more complicated than just saying they should monitor it better. I think it is difficult, and I think these next sort of 5-10 years, you'll see a lot more governance of social media and making it a lot more, just monitored by external parties. But I think it's a lot more difficult than just saying they should monitor. It's really difficult, and I don't think people understand how tricky that is, because at the same time, you don't want to be suppressing free speech, a lot of things on these platforms, because that's kind of what they're made for. And a lot of people, they need that free speech because maybe they don't get it in their own country or their own environment they're operating in, and they need it as their outlet for free speech. So you've got to be very careful of not just censoring everything on it. It's so difficult, and I think that, like I said, these coming years, I think social media is going to change a lot, because it has gotten quite wild westy, and just people are just running free and doing what they want on there, and it does need to be reined in because they are such powerful tools now. But I think it's a complex problem. I don't think it's something that's solved very easily. No, not at all.
I guess I'm coming from sort of a parent point of view, being a parent, but also having a 14-year-old lad who's caught a fish, who's put in a claim, and that sort of stuff coming back on him.
For me, that comes down to personal thing. It's like, if you're going out and commenting and laying into the kid, going back to the one that sticks in my mind is the guy who caught big rig and got all the death threats.
Doherty,
yeah. And for me, it's just like, Tom, wasn't it? Tom,
Tom, he fished the church, didn't he?
Yeah. For me, that really is when you got to look at yourself, and if you're doing that, like, come on, man, like, sort yourself out. Like, what are you doing? It's fishing. Okay, maybe you don't agree with it and you don't think it should be claimed for it, but in the day, is it really affecting you that much? No, not to the point where you'd be sending death threats. Like, sort yourself out.
No, there's a bigger picture. It's not massive, that deep, is it?
No, it's really not that deep.
But no doubt the British record fish will still be a contentious issue in time to come unless something's clarified around that. And no doubt, unfortunately, things will happen unless there's some sort of substantiating way of mediating social media, but not completely sterilising it, because it is about freedom of speech, as you said, mate. Who knows? The future will tell us, mate. Thank you for coming on, Henry. Glad you're better. Well done for your success coming back.
Thanks, mate. It was a proud moment.
And I'm going to go and get Mr. Wildbore himself. Cheers, mate.
Look forward to it in a bit, mate.
Dan Wildbore, welcome to the Nash Tackle Off the Hook podcast. Thank you for coming in. How are you, mate?
I'm really good, thank you.
I think I'm going to struggle to remain professional in this one, mate. There might be a bit of editing to do, but yeah, lots to talk about. A very multi-layered, I'm going to say, career and life in fishing, which we're going to talk through in various chapters. What have you been up to recently?
Working, really. I think, working, a little bit of fishing, and just being at home. I quite enjoy being at home nowadays, a lot more than I used to. I've got quite a nice home life, so.
Missus, dog?
Yep, 2 dogs.
2 dogs?
Yep, 2 little spaniels.
Living the dream, mate. Working-wise, a lot of filming?
Yeah, it's pretty much all filming now, because I've never really edited. Well, I have edited, but I don't really do it, so it's a bit of a thorn in my side, because I'm just doing a lot of filming, so it's a lot of days away, and not really much time at home. So I'm in the process now of actually editing. I know what I need to do when I'm shooting stuff visually, what I need to shoot to make it easy for the editors. But yeah, I've never done it, because at Sticky we always had full-time editors where I could just shoot it, dump the data on their desk and forget about it until it's done, and I need to provide notes. So yeah, just been doing a lot of filming, which has been nice. Bit of mainly fishing related, but some stuff outside of fishing, which is quite refreshing.
You've had a bit of a change recently. We're going to talk about that with regards to the direction of your career and other aspects that are coming into play, mate. I was just about to say, you don't need to do too much editing if you just put the old green auto on, mate, and just press the button. Job done. That's my first dig. Dan is a Leicester boy. I'm a Leicester boy. So there may be some Leicester references, just as a warning to throw out there on the podcast. We're going to throw back to linear, I think, first of all, mate. Now, it's synonymous with being a breeding ground for incredible anglers. Kev Hewitt, Tom Maker, the Wildbores have gone through there. Talk to me about stumbling across linear, why you chose to fish it, and sort of your progression on there.
Yeah, so being in Leicester, we didn't have I was South Leicester as well. It seemed the better lakes were in North Leicestershire. And for us to get to North Leicester was 45 minutes. So it was easier for us to just go Northampton. So when we were kids, we used to fish around in Leicestershire pretty much just exclusively at Mill Farm, Holly Farm, match fisheries, carp fisheries, you know. And then really can't remember too much how, but it was more like reading Angling Times, things like that, that you see these big carp. And they're way bigger than anything that we'd seen. I think the biggest one at Mill Farm was Queen Mary at £23. That was the 20-pounder of the lake.
Iconic carp, that. Forget Mary. If you're from Leicester, that is an icon, isn't it?
And no face. It's pretty horrible when you think about it. It was literally just scar tissue and a... but yeah, that was the fish to catch. So yeah, we saw a few pictures, and I think it was actually Tal and Jacko Go Carp Fishing. We got the DVD, which is still to this day one of my favourite films I've ever seen, and a section of the DVD was Lee and Terry go Manor, and it was just like, I don't know, we didn't really know anything about Yateley or all these. To us, Linear and Lynch were like the meccas of the country. Didn't know anywhere else. Didn't really care. That they were like the pinnacle. So when I was 16, Jake would have been 14. Mum dropped us off there every Easter, that Easter holiday for a week. And yeah, we all went down, we all fished. When did we fish? Hardwick. Caught nothing but tench. But Jake had a bite, was fishing one of the spits, I think, and was using ESP Raptor size 7s which were like the biggest barbaric hook we could think of using, from using like spade end 12 animals. So Jake got a bite in it and the hook straightened, and we thought, he's lost Jordan. Nothing could straighten a hook out. It had to be massive. So I think he cried, to be fair. It was like the most devastating. It was the most devastating. The funny thing was, actually, speaking about Jake, was I think a month before that, he did his, because Mill Farm was day only, so we never really night fished. But our close friend and his dad used to fish lynch for the bream, the roach, the carp, everything. And he's like, because Jake was sort of good friends with him, he was Jake's age, we'll take you lynch hill. They fished Stone Acres for the bream, and they put a cart rod out because you could use 4 rods. This was a long time ago now, when it was full of big bream. And Jake, they've put his rods out, and he's actually slept for a bite. So Jake's first, like, he could have caught a Stone Acres carp, but he slept through it. 80 landed it, 35-pound linear.
Oh.
So yeah, for us, like Lynch Hill and linear were like the places. So we used to get dropped off there summer holidays by mum. And then when we passed the test, it was like the first place to go to, really.
And in terms of, you said that first experience with getting dropped off there at an Easter holiday, you've had the biggest hook you can straightened out. From there, progression-wise, I know Jake's might have been slightly slower. We can't just keep the whole podcast taking the mickey out of him, but it's too easy. But in terms of your progression on there, angling-wise, where were you sort of influences or information from around sort of suitable rigs, suitable hook patterns, and just generally upscaling to the challenge that was linear?
Didn't really have any influences as such, other than the guys we were talking about, Dan and Adi, who fished lynch. When they fished it, Mary Crouch fished it, and she showed him this rig that we named the Lynch Hill rig, and it was a 10 millet bait pop up, size 8 long shank hook, bit of shrink tube, shot, real low line pop up, and then I think it was like Christen snake bite, and that was the Lynch Hill rig that we were so obsessed with. So that's all we used. Didn't know anything else, and it wasn't until you'd sort of like go to places like that. I can't think what magazine. I don't think YouTube was really. I can't remember.
No, it can't
I mean,
be
to sound
YouTube.
older than I am, but do you know what I mean? I can't remember YouTube and anything back then.
No.
So it'd be sort of Thinking Tackles or Matt Hayes or magazines, really.
Improve your course fishing. Did you get that?
Don't think I did. Maybe a bit of Total Carp.
Carp, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just simple stuff. And I guess spodding, it was just all about spodding, really. That was the biggest eye opener for me, because I need to start spodding, and it was mono on the spod reel, and it's just not the one, I don't think. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think back then you used to be 50-50 split between who'd spod on braid and who'd spod on mono. And now you think you'd never see anyone swab on mono. But so yeah, I think I passed my driving test, and at the time I was working for Morrison's, doing night shelf stacking. Didn't have a clue what I wanted to do with my life. I just wanted to do something where I could fund my fishing. That's all I was bothered about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to sell. What to do? Yeah. So I used to fish, work five nights, fish 2. Zero social life. It's pretty shocking, really. You start at 10, finish at 7, and sometimes they'd try and split my shifts, give me like a Monday off and a Wednesday off. So
no,
I just pull a sickie Tuesday so I could have 3. I just did it on purpose. I was like, don't split. It's cruel, that, isn't it? Splitting your shift when you're working
it's not
nights.
a break, is it?
So yeah, I used to literally, I engineered it because no one wanted to work Friday, Saturday night, as I did, because
busy.
Yeah, so I used to always have Sunday, Monday night off, which were great nights to go. So I used to get back from work on the Sunday morning, and if I was really tired, I'd get 2 hours and drive to Oxford. Or if I felt okay, or it was the winter where you didn't get much time, then I'd just drive straight there. And yeah, I'm trying to think which one did I fish first? I think that first year I started going up there, I fished on Manor.
Okay.
And I remember I went over I was fishing Manor, and I caught a few, and then I was due to go into work that night. So I packed up, But the week after, I had a week's holiday. No, 3 days later, I had a week's holiday. So, I packed up, went to the van, the car, and I saw the chap in the beach on St John's packing up. And at the time, St John's it still is super busy. It was like, I probably had the most big fishing for a day ticket at the time. I see him packing up. I thought, I'd like to be in there. Never fished the St John's Road Bank. Do you know what I mean? That was like, so I've gone round to him. I was like, "Oh, mate, you going?" Yeah. Someone put a bucket in. He was like, "No, mate." And there's fish jumping everywhere in front of him. I was like, "Oh, do you mind if I drop a bucket in?" Or my hat. I think I didn't even think I had a bucket with me because I dropped my hat in there. I thought, I'm pulling a sickie. Pulled a sickie, and caught. Yeah, it was awesome. Caught loads.
Yeah.
And then rang Jake because the one next to me was coming free. He came down, and then another mate came. So we basically stitched the dugout and the 2 beach swims for a week, and it was just great fun. I caught starburst that week.
Oh.
I remember Roy coming around. He says he wasn't really bothered about the other ones. He's like, if you catch starburst, call me anytime. I was like, it was all right. It was a nice fish, but I thought the big plate was the one. And I caught it about 4 a.m. This is before, like, I didn't have a sack, retainer, nothing. So I thought, I've got to ring him. So I rang him. He's like, what you got? Starburst. Brilliant. I'll see you first thing. Well, because I didn't have a sling or anything, I've got the net. There's nowhere to prop the net into because it was all gravel. So I was stood in my Crocs for 3 hours. Well, it was start of April, end of March. Freezing cold it was. It was horrible. Wait for this. It was my biggest fish at the time, to be fair. So I was, then he came down and did the photos. But yeah, that was my first sort of like taster for linear, I guess.
Oh, how carpy is that? I stood in your Crocs for 3 hours. How big did starburst go, mate?
38 something. I think it
Oh,
was.
yeah, that is a chunk, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it fluctuated between 36 and 45, depending on what scales you had. Generally.
You had the wrong scales.
What scales?
You need to sort that out.
I had the honest scales.
Classic from you. And in terms of your time on the complex and your progression, obviously you're there for quite a concentrated period of time when you're going up there, week at a time, 2 nights at a time, and it's consistent.
It's only 2 nights, yeah.
Yeah. And so you're building your sort of level of angling, bombing different ranges, tactical approach, etc., around just being on the bank and sort of adapting to what you see.
It's just all spodding. Everything was spodding. Do you know? It was like, I'm not afraid to marker or lead. Do you know what I mean? But I'd rather see where they are, lead it thoroughly where they are, and put everything on it. I don't like finding a spot and then I'm happy with that. Then finding another spot, and it's just too much hassle. You know, because back then it was walking them out and all. It wasn't really the wrap stick. So yeah, just throw everything at one spot and just hope that they arrive.
Still on the Lynch Hill rig, or did you progress? Did you moved on?
I can't remember. Probably no. Actually, no, I wasn't. I was using because we thought these carp were part of Mensa. We were like, I was fishing PVA bags of hemp and salt with little. I can't remember what company did them. They were like 10mm black dumbbells.
Oh, that's edgy.
Do you know? And never really caught a great deal on there. Then went to Bawleys and conventional stuff and caught more.
Yeah.
Yeah, just thought they were like, oh, this is going to really learn them, you know, but it didn't. Then I started, because then he was so busy. Horseshoe was only 20 minutes up the road, 25 minutes. So I used to drive to Linear, drive into St John's car park, have a quick look and go, nah, and drive to Horseshoe. And everything everything was the same. Do you know what I mean? Like £15 line, tubing, leg clip, same rig, same. I'd fish the same on either one, so it was just easy. See, I'd turn up at Linear, and the Horseshoe was always a lot quieter.
Yeah.
And back then it wasn't the Horseshoe of 100 bites a week. It wasn't the Horseshoe of 10, 12. It was getting to the latter stage of its heyday.
Yeah.
But those carp were still there.
Beautiful.
They were still, patch was still there. Everything you caught was nice. Do you know what I mean? Not saying that isn't now. You got younger fish, different age year classes, but back then it was all, you know, if you got a bite, it was a old Horseshoe fish. and I loved it on there. That I learned more on Horseshoe than Linear, just because Linear was, you generally finding a spot, spotting it, and that's it. And you're not really trying to find carp as such. You're trying to find a swim that gives you a bit of water. Whereas Horseshoe was, you got to go and find them, because if they're in the bottom of Winter Bay, there's no point in setting up in the bottom of Summer Bay. They're 200 yards apart, but like as the crow flies, but there's a lot of water for them to go from. So I loved Horseshoe. It was at the time, it was just like heaven.
Weedier as well, a lot weedier than Linear.
Yeah, it's like silkweed, and Linear was more Canadian, and it was a bit of a eye opener. The weed in Horseshoe, because it wasn't so bad in Winter Bay because everyone fished the spots. You drop your lead in a scaffold pole at the front of the swim, and you'd walk your line back as far as you could until you just saw elastic all over the floor. That's the spot. Do you know what I mean? And you just aim at the highest horizon marker, church, steeple, tree, whatever it is. And generally, if you didn't know the spot, if you did that, you'd land on clean. And it was super clean as well. It wasn't like, 10 casts to find the drop. It was dung if you're in a 12-foot radius, So yeah, Horseshoe was like, the Winter Bay fishing was totally different to the Summer Bay fishing. Like Summer Bay, I find it really hard to sort of adjust to because it was just soft and weedy and everywhere. So there was a chap on there. There's a few lads fishing it when I was on there, like Alan Paget and that. Alan caught loads, and he used to fish like 16, 17-inch long hook links and just chuck them in the weed. He used to cast a lead in or a rig, wind it in, and then sort of measure the length of the weed that he was reeling in, then make his rig 2 inches longer. And I always use bags, still to this day. I always use a bag on my hook. I can't put even with them Ronnies, I still put a little bag on.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't like the idea of my hook catching something on the way in. But he used to just chuck them in and catch loads. So yeah, it was eye-opener in Summer Bay, but it was just great fishing on there. So I just bounced between the two, and then I ended up fishing sort of end of the spring and summer on Horseshoe, and I went back to Linear sort of late autumn, early winter, because it's a bit quieter then. Yeah.
Notable captures on both complexes? Any? Well, there must have been some good hits and some good fish.
Yeah, Horseshoe was a lot of 20-pounders. I think I only caught 3 or 4 30-pounders. But it's one that's I caught that's still in there now. It's like a plated Linear with a dip back. Is
mega.
The nuts. And that, I think I turned it for a couple of nights, and I think I forgot my hemp. And I spoke to a mate up the road in the village. Says, "You got any hemp?" He says, "Oh, I got 20 kilos." So I ended up using the bailiff's shed thing and cooking up this great big sack of hemp. Soaked it for the first night, cooked it the next day. So I fished over like your normal bucket, caught 2 or 3. And for some reason, the next night I was like, "Do you know what? I'm just gonna fill it in, not just like a bucket." I mean, I think I put cooked hemp, so a whole sack of cooked hemp. So what, 38, 40 kilo. And 5 kilo boilie, and I spotted with them little called Sky Raiders about 5 hours.
Oh my days!
On Winter Point, and it went back that evening. I was shattered, and I was so tired that because I'd worked nights and I didn't get much sleep the first night. I spotted, got them out, happy, had something to eat. It's about 10:30, and the one's just gone deep. I thought, oh God! Wound it in, landed it, 20-pound fully, and the other one went dunk. I thought, I can't. This is stupid. I've just spotted all that bait out. So I didn't even put them in the clip. I just thought I'm going to aim at the area, and as soon as I hear the elastic go through, I'm just going to stop it and leave it. I'll deal with it in the morning because I was just so tired. Did that, set my alarm first thing at 4 o'clock, and I've sort of came around. I'm looking out in the half light, and there's just like an oil drum slick coming off my spot. And I thought there was the tufties on me because there was that many heads jumping. I was like, oh my God, it's carp. So I put my rig, and in that morning, I think I had 10 bites. But that 33 was the big, and that was one of my favourite ever carp, that.
Yeah?
Because he was just, he's wicked fish. And then I think, then that autumn, when I went back to Linear, caught birthmark from Manor.
Did you?
Yeah, that's a funny one, that, because I'd caught a little one in the morning, redone them, And it was about 1 o'clock. You wouldn't expect to bite. Do you know what I mean? It was random time. So I'm having a quick poo in the bivvy. Zip my door off.
Bivvy poo, classic.
I'm looking out and it's just gone deed. I was like, no. Deed. Oh no. I sorted that quickly, ran out, playing, and it's hit the top straight away. And I thought, no, don't normally do that as such. So I've seen this fish on the top and it came in the top the whole way in. Didn't do anything. Just see its head going like this and wallowing around. And I clocked that it was a linear. And at the time there was Kempy's, little linear, birthmark linear, random linear in there. But it was a perfect zip, so it was only going to be little linear or birthmark because Kempy's had bigger plates. I was like, oh shit. And it twisted and I seen the birthmark sprays blood out. For some reason, it doesn't just sit there, like, it actually leaks blood.
What?
And yeah, that was birthmark. Rang Roy, he come over. And it's funny because he rang, didn't know who it was at the time, he rang someone, he says, hey, you idiot, Wildbore's got your carp. It turns out it was Steve Cliff.
What's it?
Yeah. Who I became friends with the year after and onwards. Yeah. But he was opposite me. And I didn't notice until the following spring when I see him at the car park and he was like, oh mate, this is I can't remember where we got onto it and he was like, you stole that carp off me last autumn. I'm like, what? Then it clicked that it was him. Yeah, no, that was cool. Birthmark was a nice fish. And that was a fish that was mentioned in Tell and Jacko.
Yeah.
You know, he was like,
bit of
Terry Hearn mentioned it. I was like, oh.
That's a proper one, mate.
Yeah.
Nice. On there, in terms of the Lake St. John's, Manor, your progression on there, Anne and Horseshoe, did you get to a point where you wanted to move on, or would you be happy sort of fishing those complexes all the way through? You didn't feel the need to sort of go elsewhere?
I enjoyed it, but the busyness was just too much.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like, I mean, at this point, I'm dropping my days now at work. Yeah. I'm like down to 3 days with my girlfriend. I was dropping my days to 3 nights a week working, so I could have 2 having a life and 2 fishing. But yeah, no, it did. I loved it, but I had a bit of a falling out with Horseshoe.
Okay.
We used to do the adult and junior masterclass things. On the Thursday night of the adult one, we was told you're not allowed to go out and get bazzed up.
Bazzed up? Drunk, is that?
Yeah.
Bazzed up. I like that.
So a few of us were like, be all right.
How old are you at this point, though, mate?
22, 21. Yeah. So I was like, no, do you know what? I'm just going to spot at I was in Winter Point, and then just don't fish, leave it for the lads next morning. And then his van turns up behind my swim about 11 o'clock. Dan. I'm like, oh, God, Rich. We're going Siren. I was like, yeah, go on then. Gone out and leathered.
What is Siren? What?
Siren Sister.
Oh, you're going... I thought you meant Siren was like a club. Like
yeah, well, there was a club called The Rock, which was the worst club with this, like, pole down. It was shocking, but it was good fun. Next morning, we came back. We stayed at my mate's flat that night. We came back, and I'm in a bad way. We was doing sambucas, all sorts. And I got to the car park, and you could see the guys that were organising it were livid. Didn't say a word. Nothing. And then so they told us who was with. My 2 chaps came over and said hello. It was actually Tom Rossiter's dad. First quarter. And I was like, you got out last night? I was like, yeah, mate, sorry. He says, pass me a can. They were quality. We had a great time. We caught some nice fish and there was no issue whatsoever. Nothing was said. Then on the Sunday, it was like, right, all of us that went out, we all got called into the office because this was the point where before Horseshoe, this is the end of the corruption.
Yeah.
That has since, come out and that. And yeah, we got sat down and we were all told off like school kids. And I thought, I've just given up 4 days of my time. The guys that we've been with are more than happy. They've had a great time. I don't need to be told. Do you know what I mean? It was, so I got like a 1 month ban or something. I said, do you know what? Forget about it. I won't come back. Oh, no. Just serve you 1 month. I said, no, I'm not coming back. And I never did. until Miles and the guys
Yeah.
there. Miles is a great
Sabrina,
bloke,
yeah, they're
great
brilliant.
guy. But yeah, while they were there, people before, I was like, I'm not. You know what I mean? It was just, I could just smell something was wrong. Something was wrong. Because those events are really good, and the people that used to do those events and help out were dwindling so much to the point where you've got bailiffs helping now. I'm like, this shouldn't be the case. This is Horseshoe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People should want to. You know, I've always did the linear charity dues. Amazing. If you look at the people that turned up to that, incredible, because the respect they had for Len and and Roy and the guys there. And I look at that one and I think something's not right, and then it turns out something wasn't right. But yeah, so I didn't go Horseshoe for years. One of the bailiffs had it out for me for whatever reason. It just checked me rigs at like 10 o'clock at night. I was using tiger nuts. I had to wind them in the dark to show them a boilie. Then I got told off for having a shave in the sink. Like, I didn't even have a beard back then. Do you know what I mean? And if it was some piddly bit of blonde. And some geezer had left like half an inch of black hair everywhere. I'm like, are you actually being serious? They're like, oh yeah, you've had a shave in the sink. And so yeah, I didn't. It made it a bit
of taste, yeah.
Yeah, and there was the worst one was when Matt Hayes and Mick Brown were fishing on Winter Point, and they had Boat Point, Winter Point, Lawn, and a few of the main swimmers roped off. And the bailiff was like a real smug grin, like, you can't go in any of them swims because Matt's the director. I was like, oh, okay. It really smug that I couldn't fish any of them. So when I spoke to Matt, I was like, yeah, mate. And he probably thought I was there to punish him, but I was like, I'm just going to ask quickly, have you got any plans to use Boat Point? He said, well, we're fishing for tents, so probably not. I said, do you mind if I go in there? And if you want to go in there, I'll happily move. No, mate, you crack on. So I've moved the rope, gone in there, bailiff straight round. What the hell do you think you're doing? I was like, I've just asked the director, Matt. And he said, it's fine. I was a prick back. You know, I was deliberately trying to annoy him because he was just, there was no need for it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I didn't go back to Horseshoe for quite some time. But now it's brilliant.
Yeah, Miles and Sabrina do a brilliant job. Yeah. It is mega.
Yeah, going back to why I couldn't sustain fishing those two because they were so busy. I think I had a friend in a tackle shop in Rugby, Kev, who had a ticket for Irchester. And he kept saying, get your name down, get your name down. It was really kept quiet at Irchester as well. People didn't really know about it. So yeah, I got a ticket on there. And I think the year I got a ticket, I still didn't really fish it. I was so used to going linear and seeing loads of carp jump, catching fish, etc. I just stuck to fishing linear. But the year after, I did start fishing Irchester, and just so nice with it being a lot quieter.
Yeah. Different type of fishing though, Irchester, mate, to linear. How did you adjust to that?
I didn't at first. I got schooled because it was, I went on there in the spring and I was spotted. And now when you look back to it, now I wouldn't go anywhere than just take it to the pop-ups. Do you know what I mean? It's, so I didn't catch anything for the first, nothing. For the first 2 or 3 trips. And then I got pally with an old boy called Martin. Great guy. And he just fished naked chod. So I'd never seen, I had seen naked chods, but never fished a naked chod. And he caught loads.
Yeah.
So I just started fishing just boilies, 3 or 4 catapults. And it's nice fishing, to be fair. It was different because normally I'm like, find a spot, find the best bit of the spot. Do you know what I mean? And this was very much like, that was a decent drop. When the ring's still there from lead landing, catapults and boilies, and you're fishing. So yeah, that Irchester was really good. There's a lot of commons as well that was there wasn't that at Horseshoe. Yeah, it was good.
Different shades. I mean, that's quite a significant chapter in terms of a spell of your angling. How many years do you think consistently you put in during that time working at Morrison's, fishing linear, Horseshoe, and then Irchester? What are we talking?
I lose track of time. 3, 4.
3
years maybe on Horseshoe linear.
Yeah,
and then was it a couple of seasons on? I think it was a couple of seasons.
You started catching the second season.
I caught the first season. No, so you're right. Yeah, first season I didn't really fish it. Second season I did start catching.
Nice.
Any
big uns There's some good fish in there.
Yeah, there's a few still about. Blind Eye still about.
How big was Blind Eye? When you had
38.
it? 38.
It was
okay,
45,
so not 40,
but
yeah.
I caught it empty. The Parrot was 39.
Good fish, yeah.
Baby two-tone, 35. Wood carving, 35. There was a lot of 35-pounders.
Yeah.
And then there was a few scraper 40 commons. Blind Eye was the biggest. Then I think when I was on there, the smallmouth and the immaculate got named because they'd just gone over £40, and they're like the
Jewels
big
in the crown, yeah.
I would like to go back to one. Everyone I spoke to said it looks so different because it was literally a field, really.
Yeah.
When I fished there, there was a few like tiny willows, reeds, and that was it. You could almost see anyone on the lake from a swim. You know, as I drove past it a few times now, and you can barely see the lake. It's
Well
totally
mature,
different.
yeah.
But no, it's good on there. I enjoyed it. Different.
Yeah, as you
different
say,
sort of fish.
different.
Yeah.
So from there, talk me through how you got into the whole Team England competitive scene, because you've gone sort of day ticket busyness, you've gone Horseshoe Carp Society a little bit quieter, if you like. You've then gone on to Big Fish Urchester, and then there's Team England competitive match fishing. That's the whole spectrum of carp fishing done in like 7 years, mate, 8 years. That's a lot of shifting about. How did you go from there then into the whole match carp fishing, Team England and all that? Because that's a big move.
Well, Jake won the juniors in 2008.
Yeah.
That was the first. I fished it in 2006, the juniors. There's a funny one with that. So I fished, me and Jake both fished the same qualifier because say Mum was taking us, didn't want.
Yeah.
He didn't qualify, I qualified.
Where was the qualifier?
Brasenose one.
Yeah.
Got to the final, and I was fishing on, when you drive through the gate at B2, B1, opposite, and a few swims left as you look at it. I thought, that's a decent swim. It's all right. But I've chucked out, and I couldn't get me float back. It turns out there was some kind of old fence in there. So I couldn't fish past 60 yards because I get caught up in this obstacle. So I had a nightmare. I think I just caught loads of small ones.
Mm.
But anyway, I got finished them. I think I finished 10th. And fishing next to Maker was this young lad called Bonner Coakley. His dad used to have a bait and feed company. He used to make his lad fish these matches. He was only 9, and he finished just behind me. And on the presentation, there was Chili and Terry there presenting the trophy, the awards and that. And this little lad I can't remember who was doing might have been Crowy actually. It was Crowy doing the chat like, fishing out of peg, whatever. It was 9-year-old Bonner Coakley, and all the parents are going wild, clapping away, and it's great. And
He is
like,
9. Go easy on the lad.
no, this is the funny bit though. So everyone was like, it's because it's incredible, a 9-year-old to be fishing in a match like that. Then then Crowy, fishing out a peg, whatever it was, 17-year-old Daniel Wildbore from Leicestershire. As I stood up, someone just went, "He ain't 9," because I've always been quite a big lad. That was funny, but yeah, that was the first. When Jake won it, was the first real time. We fished the junior because it was a great event. There was a lot of so many lads that I still know to this day now. Do you know what I mean? That fished them, and it's really good. And then so Jake won the juniors in 2008, and then I think it was 2010 we entered the British Carp Angling Championships.
Right.
Neither of us had any money. Thought a few good draws, a bit of luck, we might. I think it was 30 grand.
Yeah.
For three weekends fishing, you might as well have a go, wouldn't you? If you pick somewhere that you want to fish, but we didn't really know where to fish. We ended up picking Berners Hall,
right?
Which is now like full of big uns.
Oh,
but back then it was like just a reservoir plonked in the middle of nowhere in Essex.
A classic Essex irrigation reservoir.
Didn't know anything about it. We've turned up on the Thursday, had a little look round, and thought, well, this is like, there's not really a lot going on. Met these lads, got a pally with them, went to the pub, got pissed. Standard. The next morning, it came to the draw, and I don't even know where I want to be. There's not many that fish many jumping. and we know nothing about the lake. So we ended up coming quite late in the draw. We picked the when you drive in, that dam wall.
Yeah.
Midway across that. Someone come up to us and said, "Oh, this is a crap swim." I was like, "Oh, cheers, mate." Jake had a migraine because he was so hungover. We've got a zig, a bag, everything out there. I have no idea what we're doing. Like, and all the fish are jumping in the front of the lake. I thought, this is crap. So I'm sat there, and it got to about 10 o'clock at night, and I thought, this is rubbish. It was red hot as well. There's no cover at all. It's spring, but it was like, like first few warm days of spring where your body hasn't felt it for so long, and it was freezing cold at night. So I sat there watching them batter them on zigs and stuff over there, and all sorts. That night I sat there, and then about 10:30, my zig's just gone. I thought, oh, Jake, get up! Got him up, landed it, and it was like on a 10-foot zig or something. Put them all on 10-foot zigs. We caught loads that night. It was such a nice night. It was like deathly silent. We turned our alarms off. It's flat calm, and you just hear like slosh. All that. It was black in front of us. There's so many carp there. We're just whacking these zigs out there, filling it down, then just waiting for ding. Did that. Next day, didn't catch anything. Saturday night, same thing happened again. Caught loads. Qualified. So it's quite a good. Quite enjoyed that sort of competitiveness of it. So are you excited to catch a carp anyway? But when you're catching a carp in that situation, it means so much more. Little ones mean a lot more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like normally, if you go and fish and you enjoy, oh, nice double, yep, sweet. But this is like that's a 10-pounder. Do you know what I mean? That you only really get that excited for 10-pounders in a. So we did that, and then the next one was at what's it called, Barston.
Oh, okay. Again,
never went there, never practiced. Turned up, and the marshal said, "We've got your keep net." I said, "We are at the right place, aren't we?" He says, "Yeah, you need a keep net." What's the new one for? It's the British Carp Championships. He said, "Oh yeah, you got to use a keep net because too many carp get caught for." Drew a swim, got a really good swim to be fair. It was next to Billy and Jamie.
Right. Well, you're the top end near the golf hole, the last hole. Yeah, so
they were they were ones next to. They had the island to fish to.
Yeah,
we're the ones one up from that.
Right. So yeah, the end of the lake which has the most fish.
Yeah. The plum draw.
Yeah.
This is before it was sectioned off as well. So, if you're an idiot, you got to be an idiot not to qualify.
Yeah.
24 hours in, we'd fished. Well, I started spotting emp and pellet with my normal stuff. Hooter goes, out goes my bag. Sweet. I'm not even setting the line. I'm like, why ain't it tightening? Thinking I've been bitten off by a pike. Wind it in, F1 about 3 inches long. I'm thinking, oh my God, like, because everything we'd done, we'd fish small baits, everything. A 16 miller is like massive. But I can't deal with this. So we're plowing through these. We may as well have a quiver tip. It was a joke. Got to Saturday afternoon, and we were pretty laid back, to be fair. We was like, that's all right. Then Rob came round with the scoreboards on Saturday afternoon. We were last.
Last?
I think we caught 2 fish. I was like, there's one thing not being that fussed, because I had the bit of the prick, and I was like, this isn't. I grew up with the British Carp Hanging Championships, was like Horseshoe and like Danny and
so
Damon.
You're a bit of a keep it real snob, is what you're saying.
It was, do you know what I mean? It wasn't like enduro carp fishing. It was, do you know what I mean? And I thought, so I had the bit of the ump anyway. And then, when Rob brought in the scores round, I was like, Jay, this is embarrassing. We can't come last. That is embarrassing. So I rang a mate, and he bought us 20 kilos of 16 millers down. He couldn't come till about 9:30 that night. He brought us these ballies in the swim. Just put 5 key out with a stick. I was like, deal with it tomorrow. Woke up first thing in the morning, sticking some more ballies out, because you could see what everyone was doing. Everyone was fishing stringers, ballies. We didn't have any ballies with us. And then that morning, it just was a joke. We caught so many fish. Everyone was, but it was just maybe because our bit of water wasn't being fished. You know what I mean? Because everyone was like in and out. it was like the whole pack had just migrated to us, and we caught loads, and we was like getting into a respectable position. I was like, as long as we can get top 10, that would just be nice. I think the 27 pairs, set 8 qualify, I think it was, or 7. So we were just catching these fish. It's funny because I actually saw Lewisport the other day, but we ended up qualifying by 4 ounces.
Ooh.
But there was a lot of skullduggery going on that I didn't know. It's all funny. As in like foul lookers, trailers, everything gets counted. That was just, and I think in FIPS rules, if you land it, regardless, it does count.
Yeah, of course it does.
But I don't think that was the case with the British rules. But anyway, we were so close to, and not thinking we were going to qualify. We just thought this, and I've hooked this carp and I think that's not bad in that. Ended up being foul hooked.
Yeah.
But it was the biggest one we caught, 12-pounder. And there was no one about, and I was like, oh, thank you. I felt terrible, never told anyone since, right? Until I saw Lewis the other day, and I was like, I've got something to admit, because he was there with pictures as well, who he was fishing with, because we beat them by 4 ounces.
Was that who you picked?
Yeah, we knocked them out. I felt I've got something to come clean, and he was like, don't worry about that, we counted everything.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It was just, on Barson, it was like the Wild Wild West. Everyone just did what they wanted.
Yeah.
See how we ended up qualifying.
A foul look fish. Unbelievable,
Yeah.
Dan.
And then it was at Broadlands.
Right. The final.
Yeah. And we got a crap draw, but where we drew, I actually practiced for this one. Went down there, and everyone fished to the island generally. That was the thing. And I was down the far end of the lake. You got that motorway bay. I was on like a point fishing a bit of open water.
Okay.
And there was a deeper hole out there. Over the other side of the lake's water, but I was fishing to it because no one was over there.
Yeah.
I caught quite a few bream, but quite a few carp. It seemed that if you got the bream going, you catch carp. Well, we drew this swim where the swim's water that I was fishing into.
You were the
we
other
drew
swim.
that swim.
Yeah.
Jay fished up to the island, and I fished me a little hole. And I was just catapulting 12 millers. Such nice fishing. 2 rods. And we caught quite a few. But on the Saturday night, we was up there or thereabouts. And I think the big mirror got caught from Manchester, that's right.
Right.
And I was like, Rob Hughes was like, what's up? Yeah, I was like, big mirror's been caught. It's like, you're in the final of the British Championships, just carp. I'm like, no, but at the time that meant more to me than bad, innit?
Well, I don't know, but yeah, not the best
Yeah.
if you're in the final competing and you
Yeah.
go, oh,
Well, that night I was so tired, and I caught one. I didn't even check me hook. Or me. I thought, oh, that's all right. Goes back out there. Lost one at the net.
Oh.
About an hour later, 20-pounder, which wouldn't have made a difference in the end. But yeah, we come second in the end. But I think we're about 30 pound behind the winners. So that was enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? Like, doing well in a match was enjoyable. Doing bad in a match, which has happened as well, is just the worst feeling. A crap draw, catching nothing, you're pinned to one swim. You can't go home because it's a bit disrespectful. Do you know what I mean? Normally, if you get a shit draw, or you wouldn't choose to fish somewhere rubbish, you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You're pinned down to it, and that was annoying. But yeah, that was good fun. Like, I think we won, like, was it $2,500 each, which was like,
Result.
yeah, that's like 3 weeks' wages. And then the year after, I think Mitch, I didn't even know about the England team. Mitch ran it, and I think, did he call me? I think he called me and said, would you be interested in doing it? I thought, well, why are you asking us? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not really. But I was like, yeah, okay, where is it? Italy. Cool. Yeah, sounds good. We didn't practice, didn't do anything. He says, oh, it's all sponsored, don't worry. All the funding's there. So we didn't have no money.
No, yeah, it's,
I mean,
it's a commitment to get out there with all your
sponsors
mates,
are
so.
there, everything's covered. Don't worry about it. We might have to contribute to fuel, but other than that,
yeah,
it's all good. Well, we get there. There was me, Mitch, and the guys doing the coach team stuff, and there was me and Jake, Billy and Jamie, Tom and Andy. It was the bollock. It was such a good crack.
Yeah.
Like, it was just great fun. Bill and Jamie hilarious together.
Yeah.
Like, Tom and Andy are great. It it was really good fun. Like we got to the lake and it was like, it's a beaver. Tom was like, it's a beaver. I was like, it's koi poo, mate. He went, oh. Never forget. He was like, it's a fucking beaver. This dead thing. But the information we had from the people that had been to the lake was super weedy, loads of grass carp. You need 0.40 line. It's got there. It's this humongous reservoir, gin clear, deep, total opposite to what we thought it was going to be. So we've all got like £20 main line.
Oh no!
So we've seen the lake and we was like, so we're all respooling £10 line leaders and that. To Jake, I was like, that don't half look good for zigs, because we was like zig mad at the time, because it was all clear water, deep water. You know, they weren't used anywhere near what they are now. Certainly from like people that fish in Europe, their zigs weren't a it looks perfect for a zig. If there's any depth out there, which it looks like there is, zigs are going to be. So hooter goes. Jake lashes out this marker because he's a better caster than me. Lashed out this marker float and it's 23 foot. I thought, that is just screaming. So he was fishing 17-foot zigs off the lead. We'd have a windbreak around the mat, wet the mat down. So the windbreak was to stop everyone else looking at what we were doing. We'd come out the bivvy with his zig, coil it down on the wet mat so it sticks to it and doesn't blow around in the wind.
Yeah.
Tie it onto the swivel, and I'd just hold the line. He'd be like, Jake, go 3, 2, 1, and he's about to lash it. I leg it out the way. Out goes his zig. So we put these zigs out there. Anyway, as soon as the hooter goes with the rods go out there. Jake starts spodding on ears. I thought, I'm just going to fish mine singles, and within 5 minutes, he's had a drop back. And I was like, shit, this is the one. So I'm on the old radio to everyone, get zigs on, get zigs on. So we're all whacking these zigs on, and we were hammering it for ages. And I think, we were winning it from the start right the way through till the last hour, and we lost.
What happened in the last hour? Who caught you up?
South Africa. I think the Africans had won the last 3 on the trot. It was quite clear a lot of the other countries were getting pretty bored of it. Like, it was every time we'd hook one, the Romanians next to us would go, "Yay, Africa down!" Like, because they were like so good. And they had like a 30-team entourage and
a proper setup. Yeah.
That match was so enjoyable because it was warm, it was nice, it was just amazing setting. Caught loads of fish. We competed. We got a silver medal, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then when we got back, it was like the first sort of like glimpse of like the shit side of it all. Like, it was.
What do you mean?
In like, to me, no one remembers second. It's all, but I don't think silver's that bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's all right, but
not in your first competition. Like, someone called you up and said, "Come to Italy and fish," and you've got a silver medal. That's
we got second in our section, which for us was like. No, for a few years it was like, we're not great. We just ended up getting really good. Well, we got a lot of seconds in the end, but we was pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
And it was like the press were like, England fail again and stuff like that. I'm thinking, I wouldn't call it a failure. Do you know what I mean? Like, we didn't win it, but I don't know if this is that sort of like English arrogance where we just expect to go around and conquer the world at everything because we are the best at everything, but. We're not. Also,
it's just a press thing, isn't it? It sells a story better to say, like, you've had a complete flop. Everyone's like, oh, what's happened? They love a bit of gossip. Rather than say, actually, the boys have done good here.
Yeah, and it does. Like, it's the most exhausting thing that I've ever done. You got 72 hours. You feel guilty for sleeping. So you'll have, like, 2 hours each on rotation. So Jake will get his 2 hours. I'll cover it. Then I'll get 2 hours, it'll cover it, and that's it. So you get, you're literally running on empty. It's horrible. Yeah. Then the year after, Pete and Ian took it.
Right, yeah.
And Corda sponsored it. Oh, sorry, go back to the actual funding thing. That day we got there, it was like, oh, you never guess what sponsors are pulled out. You got to pay for everything. And Jake was on an 8-hour-a-week contract from Morrison's. So he had no money at all.
What?
So it ended up costing me like that was annoying, but it is what it is.
Well, you can't do a lot about it if you're there, though, can you?
Stuck, yeah.
So what was the bill on that? But you had to cover both of you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, hotel, food, everything.
Jeez.
It was about 800 quid. And I've not paid the fuel bill to this day out of principle.
Still there.
just
had the interest hit him up now. It
really annoyed me at the time, and I did fall out with Mitch about it.
Yeah, I bet.
And I regret falling out with Mitch because Mitch is a nice guy, but it was just out of principle. I just didn't like because they knew before we went.
Did they?
Andy said to me, he said, "They're not told you." What? I said that we keeping receipts. We're buying like Cokes. What are you doing? He's like, "He's not told you. We're paying for everything." So yeah, I felt a bit annoyed about that, but it is what it is. The year after, so Pete and Ian got it, and Corda sponsored it, and they had trials.
Yes, I remember.
So we did the trials.
Was it Drayton? Did you do that
There was
one?
3. There was Drayton, Brasenose,
That's right.
and Wyreside.
Okay.
We did all right, and to be fair, Drayton was hell. We got the worst. We were penned in this rotter of a swim, and 95% of the carp was sat in the middle. Kevin Bart just wound them in for 40 hours. It was unbelievable. But yeah, we caught a few, did all right, and then Brasenose was funny because it was that weird time of year where it was like summer, fish showing in weird areas, and not really people getting bites. So I was just swinging out past the weed, little bags of pellet and pepper army up baits, and we caught loads. So we did all right. And then in Wyreside was Cool Lake. Yeah, caught a few from there. Yeah, so we did all right in the qualifiers. And then, we got picked. There was 3 pairs and then a reserve. We got picked for Romania. And Romania sounded like a bit of, I say us, like I was probably the least energetic of, do you know what I mean? Like Billy and Jamie are relentless, and Kevin Bart are relentless, and as I'm a bit more like, I'll just sit back and see what's going on, and like, Jake, why don't you do this? You know what I mean?
Just boss him about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's better caster than me.
Yeah.
So if I have to do all that, then I will, but generally I'll wind him in or do rigs or whatever, and Jake will just be lashing out. So yeah, Romania was like this massive lake stocked with, I think it was 100,000 carp, full of them. And I think a few of them went over to have a look at a practice match, what was going on, and they were boiling up baits, wrapping it with paste. So that's what we did. But it turns out there was a specific reason why they were doing it. They were using solubles.
Right.
The water, if you put your finger an inch into the water, you couldn't see anything. It's so coloured. And they conditioned these fish onto this. And I know that you can get fish preoccupied and stuff and that, but I'm not having it that fish wouldn't eat your bait. You know what I mean? I don't. At the time, I was like, not having it. But we were told, yeah, they're using a certain bait, but we'll be all right. We got there, and it was the biggest item I've ever seen. It was throwing stick in boilies.
Yeah.
And just 8 inches of coated braid, boilie up bait, wrap it in paste, whack it out there, throwing stick. Really simple. No spots, no. And yeah, we were catching a few. But I'm watching people either side of us not doing anything particularly great, hammering it. Like hammering, it was just like one after. I'm thinking something ain't right. 24 hours in, something weren't right. I think we were 21st out of 24. It's like, do you know what I mean? So then it started to dawn on a few of us that there wasn't something right. There's nothing we can do about it now.
Yeah, it's too late.
It turns out he needed this certain boiling because the Africans were down in 18th as well because they didn't have it. Then on the last hour of the match, Pete came round and got his hand out. You weren't allowed to bring anything to swim, but it was done by anyway. A few people had a field day with that one. England getting beaten by Borat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that is soul destroying. We've thrown sticks, 140 kilos of boilie out with a stick.
Oh, you're beautiful.
And you're fishing 110 yards. It was like bodies were done.
Yeah.
You have an hour's sleep, and to make your arm work, you had to pick it up with the other hand and try and move it round. So yeah, carrying the swim in the last hour, gave us this handful of paste. He went, put that on.
Ridiculous.
Wound it in, put it on. It barely at the bottom, and it was out in the end. We caught more carp in that hour than 48 hours. It was crazy. I never experienced it before, and
Just complete stitch up.
if someone had told me that now, I'd be like, "You're chatting shit." But it genuinely did make the biggest. So that was horrible. I think we come like 18th or something really bad. And then the year after was in Portugal, full of tiny ones. The thing there was like try and catch a weir. A weir's like 2 kilos. Like so many small fish. 40 degrees. I was a reserve that one, which was good.
My best position, reserve.
I was well happy with that. It wasn't an enjoyable
Fish race
match.
is not the
I think the guys come fourth. No, that's right, 10th.
Yeah, out of the medals.
Getting. It was such pot luck because it was just the worst fishing, and it was back at Italy the year after, where it started when, and there was just so many swims. It was 26 countries, and it was just a bit too. But yeah, they came fourth. But yeah, it's weird. I've got loads of great memories because of the guys. Like Pete and Ian were great, and the guys that we fished with were great. But I honestly couldn't think of anything worse now fishing a match.
Really?
We've fished one since then, and that was like not really a match. It was one at the Dare for that World Carp Masters thing.
Yeah, that was how was that? Because that's more. I'd think if you were going to do a match, that's more you, because that's more about big fish. It's a place you would fish, isn't it?
Yeah, the Dare's mega.
Yeah.
But the match was just a shambles. It was like, we come second in that as well. Never got paid.
Yeah, so this is the infamous, no prize money for your placing, mate.
Yeah. I just find the matches where it was like, get on a Thursday, get levered, have a laugh. See, you know what I mean? It was, now it's so serious. It's like watching poker players. Everyone's got shades on and hats down. And it's just a laugh. Do you know what I mean? I know there's a bit of money at stake and probably someone's ego, but it's just a laugh.
On the flip side, did you take a lot of pride representing your country, though?
Yeah, massively at the time, yeah. The early part, yeah.
Because that's got to be like, I suppose there's like levels that you define sort of sport at, if you want to class it as a sport. In my opinion, obviously it is. It's competition, so it's a sport. But to represent your country is, in terms of carp fishing, that's the highest you can get, really, isn't it?
Yeah, for the competition side of it, yeah. But yeah, I got a lot of fond memories, and but yeah, I would never do them again. No. I'm not good enough to do them again now. Like there's so many. Do you know what I mean? Like 18-year-olds can spot at 120 yards. I can't even fish 120 yards anymore. I've not fished 100 yards plus since I used to fish the matches. I've got it's just stress in it, range fishing.
Yeah.
I'm just a lot more chill with it now.
Do you think that was the reason that it came to an end, or was it the bitter taste around the whole sort of press / World Carp Classic stitch up that sort of ended?
I'd stopped the matches before the World Carp Masters.
Okay. Masters, sorry.
We just did that as it's on a mega lake. Me, Jake and Tom went and had a great time.
Yeah.
Got pissed, ate great food, caught a few. It wasn't like intense, do you know what I mean? And you were allowed a runner in brackets that could basically help you, but it couldn't touch the rods.
Yeah.
And Tom's a ninja in the boat. So he was like, "Oh, we'll do it. You guys fish." You know. So he was like,
"Is this Tom Anderson?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolute ninja in a boat.
Is it?
I'm terrible in a boat.
I'm terrible.
But he was like, "Yep, fish here, put your rod there, do this, do that." We drew a right shitter as well. Like it was crap. Right on his corner, and everyone, Mick Murray, bless him, he was there because he lives up the road. He said, "Where'd you get, guys?" I said, "Oh, we're in this one." He's like, "Oh no," but it ended up being all right. Caught the biggest one was 21 pound.
Right,
like 7 fish, all like doubles and that. No, mega. The Dare's the nuts.
Yeah,
so cool. So, but the way it was pegged was shocking. Like everyone was, it's shambles really.
It's a pretty infamous event for the wrong reasons, that, isn't it? With regards to that on the
I don't think it goes on anymore, does it?
No, I don't think so. But yeah, not the one.
The whole match station, it's great, and it was good to see people you've not seen for ages, and I find it's very serious now. Too serious for me, anyway.
The serious side of stuff, far too much for you to sort of consider doing it again.
No, I'd never do it again.
Not even if Husey gave you a bell and says, look, I need somebody to go and fish Lynch because we've got a home international on Lynch.
Never do it.
No. Fair play.
Never do it.
Can't tempt him into it. It's not a prize. So from that's a diverse start to your carping sort of career and progression with regards to match fishing and everything else that's gone on. Talk to me about career, because here, throughout the course of this, you've said even there throughout a lot of those internationals, Jake's at Morrison's, your career isn't exactly sort of defined in terms of what you wanted to do. How did it come to be that you found your way working in the industry?
Yeah, Jake was 8 hours a week at Morrison.
Go on, the boy.
Like 8. It wasn't a student. He was just doing 8 hours.
That's 8 hours more than he does at Fortis at the moment, though. Sorry, Jake. Too easy.
So Jake got on really well with the guys at Corda, and there was a job going at DHP, Total Carp.
Yeah.
I think they wanted Jake to do it. But then Ali got Jake to go to Corda. And I thought, I'll just apply anyway. Applied and got it. Which is a massive change for me because it was Monday to Friday, office, sat down generally. But I've been used to like 3 pallets of pop and put my headphones in and just, do you know what I mean? Actually physically. But I thought, it's jobbing fishing. That'd be cool. Did that, and then it was a massive change because it was Monday to Friday and weekends then. My weekends I'd already like dedicated to my girlfriend. The Sunday Monday night was me fishing. That's gone now, to an extent. So that was a bit of a change for me from a fishing. It was more structured then. I'd almost have to like plan in when I was going to go, and instead of being like, I'm going. So yeah, worked at DHP and really enjoyed it.
Yeah. What was the official job title when he took what
editorial assistant?
So basically, jack of all.
Yeah. So it was like Bonesy was the editor of Advanced Carp. Yeah. I was his editorial assistant. So Bonesy was like teaching me everything, and so I'd go out on features with John, and he'd show me like picture lists, and I'd never really written before as well. It was just more. I think when I had the interview with Mark, I think he just liked me.
Yeah.
As opposed to what I had to offer. I didn't give a shit about my pictures.
Did you not?
Oh no, never.
Did you not have the eye or that? Or back in the day, you just didn't care.
Yeah.
Very lackadaisical, Wildbore, aren't you?
Yeah. I literally had this old Fuji camera that cost me £100, and it took a photo, a really rubbish one, but to me it was like, yeah, that's good. So and this is pre-gram and everything as well.
Yeah.
Where, do you know what I mean? It wasn't like I never really paid any attention to it until I went there. And then you had to pay attention to it.
Who was there at the time? Was Ollie there? Ollie Davis?
No.
He come later.
I think, did I take Ollie's job? I feel like Ollie left for Nash. And I think I then, because Ollie was working.
Yeah.
I think it was Ollie's job. No, it wasn't. Yeah. I don't know. There was Coulson, Pete, and Jason, total. Me and Bonesy on Advance. And then I think Max came in at some point as well.
Right.
Who's here now.
Good old Hendry.
Yeah. Did Pete leave? No. I can't remember. Max came in at some point. Great office. Like Ben, who's on sales for Advanced, hilarious. Justin, who's still there. It was just a really good office.
Yeah.
Very relaxed, very much like, here's the job load this month. Do this and then we're done. And it was just, I guess it's more pressure for the editor, but for me, it was just super relaxed. And when I think about it now, I think like, dedicating 2 days to go and shoot a feature and a day to write it. I'm like, that's a waste of time. It needs doing, but that could be done a lot quicker than, how long was there for? 4 years, 3 years?
Right. Was that a defining moment in terms of job in the trade, right, well, now this is something that I want to do career-wise, which is to be involved in the trade. Because fishing and working in the trade are two very different things.
Yeah, I think with the trade's very different. You know, there's loads of different roles in the trade. You know, and if you've got a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job, and say you don't get time to go fishing, it's not true, isn't though, is it? You know, you can go fishing just as much as someone that works 9 to 5 at Siemens, or do you know what I mean? Like, there is a stigma in fishing. Yes, you know, I think it takes that little bit of drive out of you to want to go. If you're in and around it all the time, but you have got physically got time. See it all the time. People go, "Oh, don't get any time to go fishing," and they'll go and watch a football match, and they'll go out for dinner with their missus, or they're all life choices, you know.
Yeah.
Like personally, I love going out for food with my girlfriend. That's why I'm not going Saturday night. I could go, but I'm just not. You know, it's all choices at the end of the day. And the ones that do go all the time, they've got to make a massive sacrifice, because if they're working 5 days a week and then they're doing an overnight on a Wednesday and then fishing the weekend, they're having to sacrifice other stuff as well, you know?
Yeah.
It is difficult. If you're prepared to make them sacrifices, you'll go more. But yeah, I was terrible at DHP. I hardly went at all, just because I wasn't prepared to make the sacrifices. I did fish, but not like I was before. Every week I'd fish, regardless of the time of year. If Christmas fell on my 2-night, I was fishing. That was how I was. Every week I'd go fishing. And that's when you catch the most carp. If you've got consistency, even if it's a night, 3 nights, 10, whatever it is, if you've got 1 night a week consistently, I'd take that over 3 nights every 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? It's just that consistency. But yeah, DHP, I did fish on features and stuff, because feature work was a lot more relaxed than nowadays of filming. You know, it's like 13 pictures and 2,000 words in 3 days if you're doing like the Weekender or something.
Living the dream. That is living the dream. You did do the Weekender, didn't you, with Steve?
Yeah.
Talk me through some of your sort of highlights, standouts, because you worked with some incredible anglers over that period of time at DHP. Talk me through them. What sticks out in the memory, for good or for bad or for indifferent?
A lot of good ones. Yeah, I don't think there's any bad. There was one. I did the Weekender at Catch 22.
Right in Norfolk, yeah.
January or February time. It was just freezing.
Yeah.
It was like being in a freezer the whole time. I had a headache because it was just horrible. I don't like the cold anyway. And me and Steve literally just sat in his bivvy, zipped the door up, and was just watching films.
Carp fishing, advanced carp at its finest.
It was that cold. We just sat there with 2 stoves on. We'd give it half hour and then let a bit of air out to not have all the fumes and, you know, our farts and that. Get a bit of air out and then close the door again. It was just, that was horrible. And I remember he went to the shop to go and he said, I'm going to get some nice food just to, like, because you feel better, don't you?
Yeah.
He came back with like 3 quiches. I was like, we can't sit there and just eat 3 quiches.
Can you imagine the state of your bivvy after that?
But yeah, we sat there watching film, and then so some of them were pretty boring, but one of my most memorable ones was the first day I actually went out on a feature with Bonesy, and it was at Elstow.
Yeah.
I'd gone to see Mick Henderson, and he caught a couple, like 39 and a 26, and that was really cool. Quite a few. I really can't remember a lot.
Any major sort of mess-ups, mishaps, or, I don't know, lost images, or had a nightmare on an article, or tellings off?
Oh, I messed up Ed Betteridge's photos. Really bad.
Sorry, Ed.
Yeah.
What was it good in as well?
I didn't know at the time. I thought I'd done a great job. It was the Big Mirror of Urchester.
Oh, my God.
Gone down to photo it. My horizon looks like he's had 20 pints. It was like that.
Oh, Wildbore.
I'm thinking, fish looks good. Yeah, it's all exposed right. And John was like, so down the horizon. Never even thought about the horizon. It was awful. The bank shots were all right.
Yeah? You got away with it?
Yeah, but the water shots, it was like, I'm going to be on the cover. Everyone was buzzing about it. It was like November time as well, so it was like definitely going to be on the cover. I'm pretty sure they managed to cut it out and sort it all out, but yeah, it was pretty shocking.
But writing and stuff, that was all right? Happy?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Generally, it was either they sent it in or you dictaphone it and you write it word word for word-ish.
Yeah.
And the sub-editors would help you out and make sure it is English.
It sounds like good days in terms of a team as well. They're quite a tight-knit bunch
It was
of lads.
great. Like, if someone left, it'd be like, right, everyone stop working. We're going for a drink, say goodbye to them. And the Christmas dues were really good. It was very relaxed, you know. And I got on well with David and Sean. So I really liked it there.
I think that also would surprise quite a lot of people, because I think, to a certain extent myself, I think I sort of maybe bundled you in with regards to Jake and sort of working for Corda. I think the first time I saw you two together was fishing on a thinking tackle at Fort Lee, mate, which is infamous. I'd love to pull that episode.
I still get asked now, do you still fish Fort Lee?
Yeah, how'd you get how many wraps, mate?
No, absolutely not. Although apparently now that is like a lot better.
You love Fort Lee, mate. He's been there last week. Hit him up for tips. Get on his Instagram. But in terms of that, you never actually did.
No,
It was just Jake, wasn't it?
Yeah, we both used Corda gear for ages, but Jake went working there. I didn't.
You stayed the DHP route.
DHP, yeah.
So after DHP, how did you get from that to your next rung in the industry ladder?
Well, I was doing Jim's features for Turtle Land Advanced. Me and Jim got on really well.
Yeah.
So I think he put me forward, but also they obviously realised that this guy can get on with Jim, because that doesn't happen. That if you piss Jim off, he don't want to work with you.
Yeah,
that's just how he is. It's not a bad thing. We always got on really well. So yeah, I rang up Sticky to ask for some products for a review, and it was Tom on the phone, and he was like, "Oh, so when are you going to come and work for us?" And I was like, I thought nothing of it. It turns out he did want me to go. I had a few chats, and I didn't want to go, to be honest.
Did you not?
Nah.
Quite happy?
I've never been, prior to this, I was never driven to succeed as such. You know, I'm just driven to be happy. I'm not bothered about money, not bothered about cars or anything like that. I'm just want to be happy. So I was happy. Do you know what I mean? The idea of changing that for a risk of something that I might not be happy, I was like, nah. But eventually I thought about it, and I thought, do you know what? I do need to do something. Not need to, but I think I should. And Tom, is very charismatic, great, very much like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, I want to do this. And I thought, that sounds really good, that. So I thought about it a lot, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to go for it. And at the time, Sticky was tiny. It was pre-krill we met. Yeah, pre-krill launch.
Was it like Vortex?
Yeah.
Was it around that? Bloodworm and Vortex were first, weren't they?
And there was another one, wasn't there? XS.
Oh, I don't know about XS.
Sticky was always just known for being the bloodworm dumbbells on underwater. To me, that was all
right.
But a few of the guys, they got Jim now and a few of us, and I'd seen Jim using the krill. I knew what it was about, and it was decent. And I thought, as long as there's something good there for me to try and promote, I'm not just going to go somewhere unless there's something good there to, So yeah, I ended up going there, and it was tiny. It was like a few cement mixers, 5 staff, just for a big dream. And the office it couldn't fit 3 people in there. There was 2 people, and I was on the stairs. That's how it was. It took a bit of adjusting at first, because I'd always been given, right, Dan, you've got to do X, Y, Z this month.
Yeah.
Whereas now it was like, there you go, sure, baby, free reign, do what you want. I'm like, but am I taking a piss if I do this? Or do you know what I mean? It was very difficult for me just to have free reign as such. It took me a little while to adjust, to be fair. But we got, the krill went out there, and it did really well. And it was all pretty relaxed, to be fair. It was good fun.
Yeah.
It was never too serious. It was always very... I'd go up there because the office is in Hull.
Yeah.
I'd go up there and it'd be like, pub? Yeah, go on. It was just very relaxed. And it was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
What was your role there, or your job?
They call it marketing and media manager. Is
that right?
Yeah, it wasn't really a role, it's just marketing.
Yeah.
Just that you promote it. not me myself, but
develop a framework that gets the name of the brand out there, more people buying it, more business, etc.
And that first few years, I just poached a load of my mates from other companies. I was like, just work with people that I knew.
Yeah, because you got good contacts from your VHP days.
So it'd be like Scott Lloyd, all them guys that I'd fished with before and knew before. Yeah, come on over. And they're like, yeah, sweet. So I basically plonked myself in Oxford, back to Lynch.
Yeah.
Not back to Lynch, went to Lynch because they were all fishing Stoneacres, Christchurch, Willow, and some of the guys in Linear as well. So if I based myself there, anything goes on, I could go and cover it. And that's what we did. It was like, that's where it started to change. Tom was very much into the low f-stop photos.
Yeah.
Synonymous
look, isn't it?
Yeah.
You knew.
He was very much like, right, our page has got to look the bollocks. You've got to click on it and look at it and go, wow. And it does take you back almost to when you are younger and someone around the corner catches one on a pepper army boilie. So what'd you catch that on, mate? Pepper army boilie. You go, first thing you do is going to go and buy a pepper army boilie, isn't it?
True.
If you see someone catch a mega fish, you look at the little bit on the Anglian Times. What did he catch it on? Sweet corn. I'll give that. Do you know what I mean? So he was right. By having these really nice, good-looking carp with a good photo, it makes you think, I want to do that. And it worked. So my thing was just I was supplying loads of stuff to the magazines. This is when there was Advanced, Total Carp, Carp World, Carpology, Improve Your Course, UK Carp at the time, Carp Talk. There's loads of them.
In its prime, yeah.
And he wanted to dominate all the magazines. It's like, make sure you get more than anyone else. So my job was to go around and get as much in there as possible. And we'd use the Linshield complex and the fish there to sort of be the pin-ups, the adverts, do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's pretty mega, to be fair.
In terms of your time there then, so you started marketing, media manager, you said you poached up your mates and you based yourself in that sort of hub with mega looking carp. The business escalated massively quick. I remember it going from pretty much nothing to a sort of a mainstay in a very competitive bait market, because at the same time as you were there was the likes of obviously Nash bait, you've got Mainline, you've got also the phase of all these independent smaller bait firms cropping up, some of them more pronounced than others just being one man in his garage sort of operations. How did your role, responsibility and development in there sort of change? Because I don't mean to sound demeaning, but you've pretty much sort of strolled with regards to into the industry through the DHP stuff, but then there's a big escalation here in terms of a development of a brand. How does that all been triggered?
It was about 2 years in. I don't know. I think because I was so laid back, it almost annoyed Tom. Do you know what I mean? And something just, I don't know what happened. Maybe I think we might have had a row or something. Something just triggered where I just became ruthless. Where I just wanted to just do everything. To be like, we've got to be the biggest. And that was it then. It was like...
You don't remember that point?
No.
No.
I think we had a row.
About what?
And I came away and I thought, do you know what? He's actually probably right.
What, just about you being too laid back?
Yeah, just being like, you're going down there, you're doing a bit of fishing, and he's right. I wasn't. If I look back to my workload then, them first 2 years, compared to what it ended up being, it's not even completely different. And he managed to get it out of me, where I left my missus. I dedicated everything.
You left your missus?
Yeah, it was the right decision anyway. Yeah, it was. Yeah, she was pretty annoying.
Oh, brilliant.
But, I literally just went, everything was at work. Like, literally everything. And it was like, Tom just said, go and get who you want. I said, we could do with a few more people. Just go and get who you want. And that was it. It was like, I think there was a bit of a thing, because the industry had changed so much in probably a decade where, look at what Nash, 10 years ago, 15, it was the who's who of carp fishing used Nash. They paid the anglers, and then it all changed quite a bit. People weren't paying anglers as much, and we kind of brought it back in. If Nike want to promote their boots, They don't use John Smith from Rotherham, do they? They use Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Not saying that is the case just for fishing, but do you know what I mean? Like, if I personally feel that if Adam Penning or someone like Miles Good are going, this is what I use in my fishing, a lot of people are going to listen. Do you know what I mean? And that was the model. We wanted to form the Galacticos, if you like, just of many big name people that I got on with. That was important. I could work with. Just endless supply of content. I'm not just ringing round any random person going, can I get this? I'm like going out with my mates and getting good stuff.
But I also think the sort of caliber of angler that you've got there, you need a good team with them because they're not catching loads and loads of fish each session. They're catching real special fish, some of them on quite long campaign type venues. So it's not not your constant, if it was just one or two of them, you're not going to get your constant stream of material, are you?
It's about getting the balance and all. Miles and Maker are very different.
Yeah.
Miles might catch 3 a year. He might get a dinner ticket and catch 90 a year. You don't know. Whereas I know that Maker's going to catch 1,000 carp a year.
Catching a puddle.
So if I say to Tom, can we go to XYZ to do something on solid bags? Yeah, no worries. And you're going to come away with something because he's going to catch. I wouldn't ask a Gaz and Oz or someone like that, oh, mate, can we go to whatever runs water?
Yeah.
They're going to be like, no, you're right, mate. So because we had that great balance of people, you're not affecting their, if I'm going to see them, I want to make it fun. Take them a Mackey's, whatever, make it a good laugh so it doesn't feel like work. Pulling people away from what they want to do something else becomes work. So I wanted to make it as easy for them as possible to get as much from them as possible without them feeling like, oh, this is annoying.
How did you take to that? How did you take to manage? Because essentially it's managing people. It's not easy. Different characters.
No, it was fine. That's where it just takes up all your life. Yeah. If one of them's got an issue at 9 p.m. with their missus, you speak to them. If someone's lost one at whatever time, you speak to them. Do you know what I mean? You're not just speaking to them once every 5 months. Can we go filming? Every week, because they're your friend. And if they're your friend, you'll get a lot more from it.
Did that ever get difficult though? The fact that you are so close to them in the friendship terms, and you get that sort of professional crossover where they might not be delivering what you want. No. We've always managed to get. I've had loads of rows with Miles, but only like mates rows as you would do with a mate, right? Because Miles is so fixated on fishing. Like if a fish is flapping, so it's going back, it's going back. I'm like, calm down, just need a shot. And then afterwards, he'd be like, sorry about it, mate. Do you know what I mean? Because he's so in the moment, he forgets that we're also working as well. But yeah, no, never really fell out. We always get, because we're mates, you'll argue and you just laugh sometimes, it's never been bad. Yeah, I suppose it's good. It's a good balance and a healthy balance if you can say what you want to say, whether that be an argument or whatever. And the group of people that work with wasn't what we'd call inflated egos. No, I couldn't be dealing with like people wanting me to ring them all the time because they want to be feeling. Do you know what I mean? They're all very much their own people. Yeah, and if they want to call me, they can. If I want to call them, they can. It's not needy. You know what I mean? It's yeah, I get you. That was, we picked a good blend of people. Yeah, like Nick. If I just get a random text from Nick now and again, or would speak every day. It's so random. If I don't speak to Nick for 3 months, it's not like, oh, there's a problem. No. I ring him, Shamon. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not an issue. It's just he's busy doing his thing. I'm busy doing my thing. And big Bo Selector fan, Nick Elliott, yeah? He's a boy. So from that point, you obviously progressed within the company, didn't you? I think, because there was only 5 when I started there. Yeah. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and because Tom trusted me and I've been there so long, it was just like I could just do what I wanted. Do you know what I mean? It was never like your management as such. It was just almost expected of the staff to ask me. Like they just asked me because I've been there so long. And Tom's mind was like an extension of my mind. We both just thought the same thing.
so yeah, I could kind of answer stuff for him, but I never really wanted to, progress as such. It was just I just wanted to make Sticky as big as and good as it could be.
So from that, and to getting Sticky into a very high standing within the marketplace, recently, what are we talking, 6 months, maybe even less than that, you now are no longer at Sticky. You are now Dan Wildbore Productions. Have you got a title? DW Productions.
No. Yeah, no, I think, I think with Sticky, it got to a point where it wanted to be without going into Europe. And in the UK, it got to where it was, and the major drive and buzz was getting it there. Once it got to where it should have been and needed to be, it started to be a bit, I don't know, I didn't have the drive as much anymore.
Okay.
It needed to go corporate because the amount of people and the structure and the, I was always a bit of a lone I'd just go and do what I need to get done. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, I worked a Saturday, so I need a loo day. It's just do it. Whatever needs doing. If I've worked all weekend and I want to go fishing Sunday night and not bother with work Monday morning, I will. That's how the relationship we always had. I'd always do more than I was supposed to do, but it wouldn't be like clock in, clock out, that sort of. And that's the way it needed to go to be.
To the next level, to progress. Yeah, I get you.
So there's a bit of that, and I think the whole, COVID thing, sort of really hit home a bit because I had time to sit down and go, almost like take a breather from normal. Like my head is just if I'm doing something, my mind will go off Sticky, but it was just non-stop. And I think because I had that time just to sit back and go, and I thought I need to maybe do something different. Yeah. I wanted to work less. Really, that was the aim. I started to engineer my life where I'd always rented the last 10 years, because I don't know where I'm going to be. I'm just here, there, and everywhere. And we me and my girlfriend bought a house, but again, it's cheap as small mortgage, small outgoings, nothing on tick. Engineering my life. I don't want,
hassle-free, happy life, simple though.
Almost like I've gone super chilled.
Yeah.
Go crazy. I want super chilled again.
Yeah.
But it hasn't worked out like that yet.
But you've gone freelance essentially.
Yeah.
So in terms of that parting, was it quite organic, all good with Sticky and Tom?
Yeah.
So happy days as best as it can be.
Yeah, like I didn't want to leave, and also he didn't want me to leave. It was tough. I think 6 months I said it before I was leaving. It's difficult, but I speak to him now more than I did when I was there.
You did some great work there, mate. I mean, I worked for Angling Direct, obviously the retailer before, and like your media, I mean, Reflections, mate, ridiculous. Like the Cassian episode, the Nick sort of campaign on the Thames episode, they're all like iconic films, and the cinematography in those was absolutely brilliant. Like, obviously there's a team of you there, yourself, Rich, and everybody else, but as products put to market and media that I received to then put out, like it was a mega good job, and it will continue to be so. I know it will because of what's the precedent that's been set, if you like. But I think when I look back over that time, they're my sort of photographic snapshots in my head, if you like. For you, real standout highlights, what sort of grabs you about that time?
When I think about it now, I think of Linchill Carp. Mostly, Reflections was great because I didn't film for quite a few years, but we knew that we needed to film.
Yeah.
What would it have been? 2016,
right?
And Tom was like, "Look, I want some filming doing, but I don't want any products, nothing. Don't want anyone wearing our clothing. I just want fishing films." Which I hadn't really. When you've got a structure of what someone wants to do, there's a reference point that other people have done it before.
Yeah, of course.
And I guess it probably has been done before, but I didn't see a lot of it, so I'd nothing really to go on, and I didn't know how to film. So what I was like, right, okay. Richard just left Corder, and he was going freelance. So I was like, "Do you want to come do some work for us, Rich?" Yeah, cool. Went on a few days with him, like watching him film and stuff, and started to pick it up a little bit, and then was like, right, let's do these films. So I used to plan it all and think of what to do, and we'd kind of go there, and Richard 90% execute it, and I'd do. Do you know what I mean? It was mainly, and yeah, it just went down really well. It was so refreshing because I mean that first one was really cool because we got Bernard Cribbins narrating Martins, which like anyone that watches, it's so nostalgic that.
Yeah, Passion for Angling throwback.
Yeah, like he's the voice of Passion for Angling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I look back at it now and I think, it's not great, but there was good storylines, and that was the biggest learning curve from it all. Was the story's everything. Doesn't matter how beautiful it looks. Doesn't matter how many carp they catch. The story is everything. You can't really predict the story in fishing. Do you know what I mean? So you either get lucky or you don't at times. And the first set, we got really lucky, really. I think, everyone caught. There wasn't really any hiccups. Then the year after was, what was that one? Yeah. We managed to get Yates.
Yes.
Martin managed to convince Chris to do something, which was just mega.
What's Yatesy like? Is he as you see him?
Yeah, just amazing.
Just a walking museum of carp.
Yeah, like when I talk about me being chilled out and
he has a nap, doesn't he, and stuff?
Like, he'd say that was too intense. He's just brilliant. Like he's very much like, tonight I'm going to go and see if I can find a badger.
Oh.
But I might go and see if I can spot a star tonight of whatever name it is. That's his like, he's waiting. That whole day is about going for that. And you think that how relaxed that, he probably lives forever. Do you know what I mean? No stress, no. I'm sure he has been through that in the past, but just a really nice guy. Like, and it's like, Rich is older than me, so like me growing up, I was probably more like Terry Earns, the man.
Yeah.
Rich was Yates. So when we did the first film with Chris, Rich, who literally takes a hoisin duck wrap, a bag of crisps and a bottle of water for a 3-day shoot.
Is that it?
Yeah, generally. Arrived with a pre-baked fruit cake in this wrapper, and I was like, you knob.
You've changed.
Yeah. No, he just did it for Chris.
Of course he did.
Chris is exactly as you see him. There's no, he is just such a lovely bloke. And the funny, because he's got this Kelly kettle, I love a tea. He loves a tea. And because I got this gas stove, he's like, I'm like, want tea, Chris? He's like, wonderful. Like, how fast are these coming in? And I think we asked him, I said, what's the perfect tea then, Chris? He's like, well, what you do first is you put your PG tips in. That's for the earth. Then you add your Earl Grey. That's a bit of fragrance.
Oh.
Very nice, to be fair. But that's like,
double bagging, edgy.
Yeah. Great guy. Martin, ultra professional, great guy as well. And it was that first shoot was the hardest shoot because they were float fishing. Carp fishing, normally it's filmed during the day, get rods out, next morning, then all day it's pretty quiet. Whereas that's intense, you're constantly on the float, so that was hard, covered in ticks and but yeah, went down. So it was the best thing about the whole Reflections thing was the comments.
Yeah.
Like, even though, that's still got 350,000 odd views, which is massive for a bait company viewage wise. The big thing I used to look at was the comments. And they're just incredible. Like, I've not fished for years. This has made me want to go again. And like, breath of fresh air. It was great. So I think Rich ran me the other week and he was like, have you seen the comments? I'm like, on what? And he never even looked at them. He looked back and it was like, gives you a real sense of, it's a real uplifting feeling that people enjoyed it so much. Obviously the Nick film is probably my favourite film I've been involved making.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
It was
Like, as a
just-
character, what a bloke. What a fish. It had the lot, didn't it?
yeah, similar to Chris, he is what you see. There's no different Nick off camera. That is Nick.
Mm.
He's just brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
He's so you could literally just sit there and roll in him all day and just get gold after gold because he's just great, you know. And you know, he'd gone through a really difficult period
Yeah.
of his life, and it was like man goes on an adventure in his boat, and it was just the bollocks. The first year was difficult. There was loads of flood water. He's finding his feet. I don't think he caught anything. He goes France all the time as well, so it's like booking in time to go and do something with him. He's like, oh, I'm going France. What about next week? Oh, I'm going France now. When you coming back? 4 weeks. That's just how he is. It's just, you know, I'm going.
Yeah.
So the year after we just covered everything we could. So we, like, I remember his podcast called us, oh, and then he did 2 trips with me, and it's like they polished the turd. I'm like, no, we did more than 2 trips. Like, but yeah, no, we did quite a few trips with him. Mega scenery. It's ended up being a great story. And I remember I was with Oz Ferry,
Yeah.
and I was sleeping in my van, and my phone's going like, God, it's not my alarm already. Like thinking, John, you just know you haven't been asleep long enough.
Yeah.
Looked at my phone. It was like 2 a.m. Nick Elliott. I thought, like, Nick don't ring for anything.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? He could have a £35 leanie and just do a self take and put it back.
Really?
Yeah, Nick's not.
He's not
whatever.
first.
Yeah. I'm like, oh God, all right, mate. He's like, I've got it. What? It? I've got it, Dan. It's ginormous. I was like, I'm on my way. So literally just, Marcus is with me. It's like 2 a.m, right? And I've gone round to Oz to say that we're going. Now, Oz hadn't caught a carp from Ferry all year. I think he'd seen 5. That's it.
Right.
2 a.m, and he sat there with a coffee, like, oh, mate. Sat there watching.
What?
I'm like,
Yeah, he's a machine, isn't he?
yeah. I said, I've got to go, mate. Nick's got the big, and he's like, fair play. So, yeah, we drove down there, loaded me barra, and I've got a shocking wheel, squeaky thing that sounds like a turkey being strangled. So I'm going through this nice bit of town, like, it's so bad.
You're a Nash power barrow boy.
Well, you know. Yeah, barra down there, got to him. He was like just shaking with
Yeah.
excitement. It was coming light in about an hour, whatever it was. And yeah, got it out, and it was just, it's really weird on the photos and that, it just doesn't look like a 50-pounder.
Do you not think?
No, I don't think so. It's short, isn't it? It's really
Yeah, but it's
short,
deep.
deep. When you sit on the bank, the width of it was just colossal, you know, across the shoulders, and it was just huge.
It probably don't look like your atypical river fish, does it? It's not long,
oh,
lean,
no,
like.
no. It's like a Sun and Triple Road twin, and
Yeah, it is, yeah.
that was just a great thing is with things like that, it's captured forever now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and that fish is sadly gone, but that's a capture that's in the, you know, Terry with Mary, or these certain captures that have happened in the last 20 years. That's up there, really.
Yeah, I also think there's a lot to be said for, like, just the emotion in that film, and that obviously that's a lot to do with Nick and just him being him and just a genuine bloke. But that emotion sells, like, layers it more than just like
Oh yeah,
a mega fish.
Yeah, if you don't just want like wooden, but you know, you want to see the real.
Yeah,
And he was crying, you know, when he had
Yeah.
that fish in the bank, he was crying. You couldn't quite see it through the glasses, but it was a build up of so much emotion. To
yeah,
then,
totally. Best fish you've ever filmed or photographed? That one?
I think there's 3. I'd said that one, Croc. But I think Burfield Common is anyone that's given me like goosebumps throughout my whole body.
Really? Well, when
Really
Scott
weird.
had it,
Really weird. It was like, I think because I prefer mirrors to commons, but I think it was just the sheer size of it as well.
oh mate,
Like, I knew it was going to be big, and it's, you know, probably the best fish in the country. And when it came out and then the sling was open, I was like, it's massive.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, that is huge. Normally, when you go like when you see people in France now, they pull it out and they're just like. A lot of the time, they just look like they're just like old and about to pop. Do you know what I mean? They're a bit like weathered.
Yeah,
it's like brand new.
Yeah, new penny.
The mouth was like it literally was brand new,
and
it was just I was just shivering. It was incredible, the size of it, and I think I'm pretty sure he was 62.8, and he got his. Someone rang him a year later or so, said, "I watched your video." And he worked for some scales thing, or he might even work for Reuben. Your scales are broke, mate. Like, you bottomed your scales out.
So it's bigger?
Yeah. Well, that's what matey reckons. Not that it mattered, because it was...
it's irrelevant, isn't it? It's the fish.
When you think about it, you think, doesn't often get caught before she sheds her eggs. That was the first time since 2007 she got caught prior to spawning.
Yeah.
And it was 6, yeah.
Haven't you photographed the Tatton common? No?
No.
That's another big common.
And Jake did, actually.
Did he?
He was up there in the shop, yeah.
Oh, my days.
Out of focus.
Never mind. You'll catch it again. Gone now as well, mate. You've missed out my common from Berners Hall. That was probably your finest photograph ever taken, wasn't it, mate?
Oh, the silver Marcia.
Oh, what a boy. But in terms of, a sort of a chapter in your life, obviously mega, loads of brilliant mates involved in it, and quite a defining sort of series of years and stuff. Now, looking at freelance life, you said it's busy, mate, but you are a very talented bloke. So busier than you thought it would be? Does it give you a calmer, more chilled pace of life or not?
I think, I guess so, because I'm technically my own boss, but I think because I've not edited, I've just filmed. It's been a bit of a problem because I've not got much time at home.
Yeah.
The idea was to have more time at home. So I'm sorting that out now. But yeah, I'm just doing a lot of filming. It's good though. Like it's good because it's everything I do is different. Like topography, I have a different style to, I'm still doing stuff with sticky. So it's like the styles are all quite different. So it's.
But you like that? You like dipping?
Yeah, it's learning, isn't it? Like learning new ways of doing it.
And you've also, which we sort of hinted at the start of this podcast, you've also branched out into not just fishing with regards to sort of your videography and freelance work. You've gone into the shooting market.
Well, we're doing a couple of like clay days and stuff, and promotional, but just sort of like dipping toes into different things because where generally carp fishing's quite far behind the rest of the world in progression, technology, etc. The filming's actually a lot better than a lot of other industries. I think where Corda have set the bar so high for so long, they've been doing it for a long time now, and their production level now is just so high. It's pushed everyone else to try and, do you know what I mean? To try and almost not compete, but they've got to get up there to not be in, so yeah, carp fishing, the quality of content's really good. So to then put it into different things, like I look at certain stuff from other industries and think, yes, that's doable.
Yeah. Watch this space, mate. A lot of scope there for it to expand. Come on, the Wildbore. So, Dan, talking back with regards to fishing, I think I left your fishing chapters way back in the competitive match scene. I wanted to talk about two quite significant chapters, if you like, in terms of your fishing. One being Christchurch, Lynch Hill, and the other being Elstow, because I know you've got an affinity to both complexes. Talk to me about your fishing on Christchurch, Lynch Hill, the complex as a whole, mate. Beautiful carp, you said before. You said, obviously, work-wise, you were based down there, but you're angling on there?
Yeah, it was... I was saying earlier with the Dan and Adi that when we started fishing, they fished there. Lynch always had that little bit of magic about it. And then when it went day ticket, we just did a lot over there. It was quite quiet, which we ruined. But it helped the fishery out. Yeah, we did a lot down there, and it was just, like really different because you were literally fishing for a bite window. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like other places where you could get them at any point. This was 90% of the time, 2 hours before light to an hour after light is your window, and that's it. It's all over. So you do everything you can to set everything as perfect as you can, then wait for that window. And it was just, the shows on there were electric. Like, it would be really quiet in the day. They'd be sort of set up in the wee bed, sat in the corner. You might see them cruising round. And then as soon as it got dark, if you got to the early hours, it was just, you never own it. It's like a wave machine out there. It's unbelievable. I remember one time I left the factory on a Thursday night, Thursday about 5 o'clock, went back home. I was living with my great aunt at the time. Went back, had some dinner, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to go fishing. Because I was going to go anyway Friday night. I thought I'd just go. Drove straight to Oxford, got there about 1 a.m. Sean let me in. I just walked up to Christchurch, and it was like, I spoke to Nick on the way down, and he's like, oh yeah, mate, there's only 6 on. Bank holiday weekend leading up to it. I'm thinking, sweet, get somewhere, plotted up, 3 nights. I got there, and it was full moon, so you could see everything. Get to peg 1, someone's in there. New dig, someone's in there. I'm thinking, oh, sweet, the other end might get to peg 2, someone's in there. Peg 3, someone's in there. I'm thinking, 4 people. That means the whole of the lake, there's 2 other people. Sweet. It wasn't. There was 2 swim 3.
He'd done you.
Well, I think he just, I don't know what happened, but I was like, but they were jumping like heck on in the end trees, one after the other. Hundreds, like, I reckon there was 250 shows. And I was just sat behind this mate's bivvy, hearing him snore, and it was just like wallop, wallop, wallop. I was thinking, I really hope he's going. But I didn't want him to get a bite, as bad as it sounds. I thought, if he doesn't get a bite, he ain't listening to what's going on out there now. And if he's going, he's going to go, isn't he? And it was just getting light, and I'm thinking, I've escaped, I've managed it. Like, there's a chance now he might go. His rod went, he caught one, and I felt really bad. I stood behind him, this bush next to his bivvy, and he's playing his carp. I'm thinking, I do it. Like, it's a bit weird if you just woke up, you're playing a carp, and you hear someone going, do you want a hand, mate?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, what do I do? So I didn't do anything. I just stood there behind, waited for him to net it. He sort of turned around, and I pretended as if I just walked in the swim. I was like, you all right, mate? Weird, isn't it? Someone's just stood there watching
some
you.
weird carp voyeur, mate.
I was like, oh, nice one, mate. And I said, oh, you off today? I hate asking that, but on something like that, you got to.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, I was going to, but I don't know if I'm going to now. I'm thinking, oh, God's sake. He ended up staying, but the swim next door was coming free. So this mate, he packed up at 7. I've just jumped in there, gone straight to sleep because I've been awake all night. And I spent ages trying to find, like, there was always like the spots that everyone fished to. It's like 4 or 5 foot Canadian, then there's just holes. I've got 2 out on this area that everyone fishes to, and there was one bit to the right where I think I caught the clip wrong on the rod, and it went short and probably 15 yards right, and I thought I'd fill it down anyway just in case. It just went wallop, like as if I was on braid. It was that hard, the drop. So I've re-clipped it. I had another go, couldn't find it, another go. And then I'd felt it down in a different way, and it went wallop. That's the one. And at the time, we was fishing like a 16mm boilie, cutting it right down to sort of 8mm, 9, like tiny.
Just a standard bottom bait?
Yeah, wrapping it in little, then a tiny bit of 12mm pop-up to make like the mini snowman, almost like a 12mm size up bait, like a mini, wrap it in ladies' tights. Put it out there. I think 2 hours later, I got a bite. I stood in the next swim. You wouldn't expect one in the afternoon. Just I can count on my hand how many times I've seen an afternoon bite, unless the conditions are a joke. And I just sort of glanced back at my rods, and my middle bobbin was right at the top. I thought, what's going on there? Ran back down. It was like a guitar string. Pulled into it. I'm like, oh, there's one on. Just wound it in. I thought it was a tench. Just wound it in. Sean, Adam, a few of the lads came over. He's like, you got one? I was like, yeah, I think it's tench. Then it was clear it was a carp, and it had gone right. So I've jumped in to stop it going round. There was a bush of some sort down there. And Adam went down with a net to the next swim to net it from there, because it was like going mad in the next swim pretty much. And I think Sean behind Joe, because at the time I think I was really lucky with sizes. Every fish I caught was a 30-pounder. And Sean just joking, he said, oh, I bet it's a 30, like taking the piss. Adam went, "It ain't a 30, mate." I was like, "Oh, slow." I was literally expecting a little cricket-back common. He's like, "Oh, it's a 40." And it was toe jam.
Oh my days.
41, 14, I think it was. Which was at the time one of the best looking. The mouth was immaculate. It very rarely got caught. There's a funny name as to why it's called toe jam.
Why?
I won't name any names but at the time there was a chap many years before this who had his own vegetable garden, should we say?
Okay.
And this type of vegetable, he called it the toe jam. And an angler went to go and get a bit of foam off him,
right,
for zigs. Gave him some foam, and the only thing that he could put it in was this little pot, like a mini crusher.
Yeah.
And when he put it out there, he caught this common, didn't have a name, netted it, and the foam still smelt of his vegetable. So they called it the toe jam common.
Toe jam.
So all these people are like, "Oh, is that someone's homemade jam, or is it like?" Well, that is a good name for it. So yeah, that's why it's called. So yeah, I was lucky on there. I caught quite a few nice fish. They were really tricky though. Like I've never really experienced anything like it. And the first one I caught from there, I was fishing on the bar out of Newdig, and I literally put 7 spoms of. Like getting a boilie and just pinching it, and if there was 3 bits or 2 bits, that was what was going in. 7 spoms of broken boilie. And then 2 of them little tiny pathetic hook baits I was just talking about. I reckon from 12:30 till 4:30, when I got the bite, I was getting liners that savage that I thought I was away. They were getting pulled out the clip. They were rolling all around they were on the spot.
What?
Feeding like mental. And you'd feed a 20-pound common in the tree, break up a boilie, throw it in. Take it 15 minutes to eat a boilie. They're just so delicately, like, don't get me wrong, there's certain times when the weather's right, the moon's right, whatever it'll be, they just hang themselves. There'll be like a couple of mornings in a month.
But that's not the norm.
No, generally. I remember reading Dave Lane. He wrote the riggiest carp he'd ever fished for, and that was in 99.
Was that do you think just pure pressure or the clarity of the water or what?
Both, they've been super pressured now since Petals was in there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So they've seen a lot of everyone's best technology. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's best rigged, and they were very particular. But then someone would go and do something totally different and catch those, as it normally is the case. But yeah, at that point we were all using this slop and washed out stuff and tiny, smallest hook bait you could I was colouring in my hooks, and for someone who's like as relaxed in life as they are with their fishing,
that's pretty meticulous for you.
I was using putty.
Big step up in my game. I've got the putty out.
I checked the sharpness of I wasn't using sharpened hook, but I was very particular on how sharp the hook was.
I can't imagine you being a sharpened hook man.
No. Not that I don't think that it clearly works, but
you just can't bother to do it, can you?
I think if it made that much of a difference to the way I fish, then I'd do it. But I don't.
You just can't be bothered to do it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And I pull me rig into bags of pellet.
Do you?
Which I would imagine would do the up point bad, because these things that a lot of them use now, they're like a needle, aren't they?
Yeah.
And for pop ups, I would use a sharpened hook. A pre-bought sharpened hook. I wouldn't want to do it myself because I'm terrible at it. I've had a go before. I recondition in the odd hook. If I can't be asked to tie up a new rig, and I think that's savable, I'll go over it a few times to make sure it does go in my skin.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wouldn't sit there It definitely works. Like I said, more with pop-ups, I'd be inclined to do it because it's out of the way. But 99% of my fishing's something balanced on a slip D on the bottom, getting thrown around everywhere because I use supple hook links.
Do you?
Yeah.
What, straight, uncoated braid?
Most of the time, yeah.
You've gone old school.
Well, I just think the latest craze, I think anything you do is, if you follow the latest craze, it'll work anyway, but the start it'll work a lot. And it dies down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like Choddies 5 years ago, 6 years ago were king.
Yeah.
I was doing the stuff with Jim at the time. That long running Choddy was unstoppable.
Oh,
I never seen anything like it. It was like some of the best bits of angling I've ever seen. You know, you could go around, see fish roll, 3 1-ounce leads with 3 rigs that are fishable, throwing 630 baits, he's fishing. It's like a ninja, you know, it's incredible. Then everyone started using choddies and that, and I think and now it's all Ronnie boom, isn't it? You know, and everyone the Ronnie is mega. Like, I remember I got shown it by Steve. Old Apache said he's been messing around with this rig. And this is prior to it all sort of coming out. It took him, I hate being that person, I knew it before, but he showed me it, and it's different to the way Ronnie did it, but the same principle.
Well, how is it different?
I'm pretty sure Ronnie has it on like an actual D of braid, because Bowler knows Ronnie.
Oh, okay.
And he always says, the Ronnie rig you see and what Ronnie uses, and but the way Steve was doing it was supple braid, the whole clip thing.
Yeah.
Hook ring swivel and a stop, and then it's bait. So similar to how they spin there, most people.
Yeah.
But everyone's using nowadays is generally a stiff hook link
or semi-stiff, yeah,
to be resettable, etc., etc. Carp learn by association, don't they? And that, if you feel like a bit of stiff material on your lips, it's really quite, you know about it. Whereas that supple stuff, and I think no matter what way they come, that is always going to go into their mouth. Do you know what I mean? It's very flexible. It's just different. I guess. Yeah. I still use semi-stiff style coated hook links, but I think at times like a 10, 12 inch bit of rope, it's just totally different.
Yeah, of course. They don't see it, do they?
No, and that's what I took from Elstow when I first went on there. It's all fishing on bars, which you'd think in your head like super short hook links, big leads.
Yeah.
Like, no, if you watch them fish feed in the out of bounds or whatever, it's like they're not even alive. You might see their gill move a little bit, and a little
just pinned to the deck.
A little bit of puff might come out, and their pecs just sit there like this, and it just pushes everything around. They might just go. Rarely do you see them like head down, ripping up the bottom. It's almost like they whack everything up and then just hit all the suspended stuff.
Yeah.
And that long bit of rope will go in.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when Scott caught Hartley's from Christchurch. He kept coming in to this spot on the edge, and he put a 3-inch hook link, solid bag, everything in it, a load of powder and this little wafting up bait. Lowered it in. Hartley's come in. You can't quite see how close they are to the bottom, but he went like this. He whacked his pecs, and you see him suck all this bait going. You can see his wafter inches away from his mouth, just sat there like that, ready to go in, but couldn't go in. And he put a 10-inch hook link in a bag. Hartlings came round, came back in, wallop, got it. Yeah, and you wouldn't normally think about putting a 10-inch.
If you don't see it, you'd never do that, would you?
I just think anything, you watch, I'm lucky because I've been out with so many good anglers, and you watch, they always do, like Penning will always do, whatever everyone's doing, they do complete opposite. Luke Stevenson, opposite. Miles, they do things different. And it does pay off. You just got to have the confidence to.
Yeah, you got to back yourself, haven't you?
Yeah.
So for you, supple hook lens generally, you said that you combat it in terms of combating tangles. You've normally got a bag of pellet or something on, haven't you, just to straighten things out?
Yeah, little tiny 2mm pellets.
Leg clips.
Yeah, but the lakes that I fish are no leaders, so
right,
it's easy to just use a leg clip and tubing.
Happy days.
But Christchurch was like fluorocarbon leaders and putty up the line and camoing everything down. And nowadays I'm just like, no, sod that. If I went back to Christchurch now, I would literally just fish 20 millers.
Yeah, the complete opposite.
Semi-tight lines, wouldn't slacken them all off, and might not work, but I reckon it would.
Yeah, because they see the same day in, day out. You talked about Elstow there. Now, you said to me when we were talking about planning this podcast that is the lake for you with regards to if you won the lottery. Well, you don't need to win the lottery. All your freelance work, you'll be able to buy it tomorrow. But but in terms of a lake, for you, that is the one. Talk to me about why that is the one and your time angling on Elstow. Because it is an infamous place, let's face it.
It's like, people know about it, but don't know about it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones that I think until the Elstow bobbins come out, a lot of people didn't even know about it. But yeah, I guess 2001 was like, it was in its peak. There's 20, 40 pounders in there back then.
Yeah.
At that time, there was nowhere.
It's a fair old sheet of water though, isn't it, mate? What is it?
You got pit 2 and pit 1. Pit 2's 30 odd acres. Pit 1, is 20-25 acres. I'm not really sure. But the volume of water, they're quite deep pits, clay pits. I don't know. There's something. The atmosphere. Some lakes you go to, there's just an atmosphere. Like, a lot. And I guess everyone's different. Like, I've been to Yateley quite a few times, not necessarily to fish, but I don't get the atmosphere. A lot of people that are there, they're like, it's magic. It's, for me, like enclosed, tree-lined, relatively still, small pits. Doesn't really interest me. I can see why it does. Do you know what I mean? But I guess that where some people talk about places like Yateley and that's what Elstow did for me. It just grabbed me. As soon as I got there, that first time when I did that feature with Mick, you come up on the high bank, and as you come around the corner, you've got a 20-foot cliff, and you're looking at the lake, and there's like trees out the water, and the yellow bars are all glowing, and I was just like, and the water's so clear, like in front of some of the swims, because they've been flooded over the years. There's like old scaffold boards and shit. You go to the end of them, and you look down, you might see like, I don't know, a bit of a stone or whatever. Clear. If it's a bit of rubbish, say an old Coke can was down there, you could read the writing word like, clearly as day. You put your float on it, see how deep it is, 13 foot.
13 foot down.
That's how clear the water is.
Yeah, it's
crazy. And the carp were just, I don't know, they're when it's an Elstow carp, do you know what I mean? Like big, thick wristed tails, deep, like, and pretty scaleless as well. And that's what I liked about it, because everywhere's full of scaly bangors and
bangors.
It's all about scaly fish now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, they are nice, but going on with Roxford, like they're pretty common horseshoe. So to then go fish somewhere with like these big leathery things, really different.
And the fishing, you said you talked about watching them feed on top of the bars before, and the fact that they fed in a very sort of, considering their size and the sort of wild that they're in, they feed in quite a cautious manner.
Yeah, I think you need a group of them. Like Steve was, they're butting heads, you'll get them. If they're butting heads of each other to get what they want, that's when they're, it's not a hard lake. It's hard to get it right. Once you get it right, it's an easy lake. That's what I found. Like, I struggled a bit to start with. I'm like, because normally I'd have my lead in rod, I'd put my lead out there, get a drop, yeah, sweet, put my rods on. Whereas this was like, you're fishing to the bars. Everyone fishes to the bars because you got 25 foot of water with 10 foot on top. And those fish are just conditioned that when they want to eat, they go to the tabletops. I've fished in the deep water before. You generally catch the smaller ones. The old ones just know where they want to get fed. So it's like you got to find the best bit of that bar. So if you get if it goes wallop and a rattle, that's a bite spot. But on most lakes you would avoid the gravel, but on there, if you get a rattle, they've eaten something off that bar.
Yeah, as blatant as you like.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be the size of the sofa, sometimes it can be tiny. And that's where the whole like 3 rods on a spot thing, because you get one bite spot that, if you put your float out, then you get your other rod, put your marker on your spod rod and try and find around it. You go right at the float, soft. Left of the float, soft. Do you know what I mean? It's tiny. You think, I can't put all 3 on that. But if you aim everything at that tree or whatever it's in line with, and the lead's never going to land on top of each other, is it? No. So they try and put the tips together, and it is a bit of hassle. But when you find them bite spots, it's just the best feeling. But yeah, the atmosphere there was just great. It's on a rotor system, so you got A and B rotor. So like you can fish this weekend if it's your rotor. The next weekend you can't because it's B rotor's time. Then it's back to your go. And then the syndicate's divided in half. And on the Friday afternoon, no one's allowed to be on the lake after 10 o'clock in the morning. Lake's empty. If there's 8 of you there for the draw, so you can turn up on a Friday afternoon. You all get a £1 coin. Give it to whoever's doing the draw. 1 to 8. Put it in a real bag. Shake it up. Wherever you pull, that's what choice you've got. Whoever comes last keeps the £. So sometimes there could be 10 people there for a draw. Mate finishes work, gets there on a Friday. He could draw the best swim in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like if the fish are in the reeds, and the reeds is the swim to be in, you could turn up on a Friday afternoon and be in there. You haven't got someone in there that's been festering for 7-8 days. Do you know what I mean? So it's
it
like,
takes that out of the equation, doesn't it?
yeah, it's like a working man's syndicate, you know. And because since I've been on there hasn't been loads of big fish. Like 40-pounders is what everyone wants now, but there's 30-pounders in there. It's just nice fishing. And because there's no real big uns, there isn't that keenness, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? Like where you get a bit of like, oh, you know, you're in that swim, and oh, that one's been out, and just the shit side of fishing. You don't get over there. If someone catches the pump stag linear, it's like, oh, mate, there's still loads to go at. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, that's one I wanted to catch.
Yeah, there's not that. Tainted side.
It's like going up to someone's wife. Oh, that's the bird I wanted to be with. Do you know what I mean? He's caught it. Let him have his day. You know, like most likely the fish ain't going anywhere.
Your time will come.
Yeah, there's loads to go at. You know, as long as you enjoy it, it doesn't really matter, does it? Like, that's what it is on there. It's just enjoyable. It's like you wake up first thing in the morning, you swing your legs off the bed, you look out, and you're just waiting just to see one. If you see one, there's loads. Do you know what I mean? And you sit there, and one goes behind you, the bar you're fishing to, and you're like, oh yes. Have your coffee, and you just wait, and it just livens up and livens up. More and more start showing. Then you get a flat spot come up off the bar, and you're like, oh. Then the rod just buckles. It's just the bollocks. Great lake.
Have you had hits out of there in terms of numbers of fish, or have you just had sort of, significant captures with regards to some of those 30s? A bit of both, really. Yeah? A couple, was it 2-3 years ago now? Bizarrely, the point was the swim that no one fished. Everyone loves the point, mate. But the point, it's like an egg box, that place. There's bars everywhere, but in front of the point, you've got it's deep water everywhere, one bar. Whereas the other bits, they're like, you've got loads of bars, weed, more going on. I was doing a lot of stuff with Miles at the time, and he was putting so much bait in. It was scary. What are you talking? Give me a figure on it. 80 kilo particles to bait up with. Yeah. Like maples, maize, all sorts like that. And it was working. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't just like tipping it in for the sake of tipping it in. Oh, mate, he's an incredible angler. It was all calculated, and he'd put it in, and he'd get a bite the next morning. Do you know what I mean? I thought, everyone on there, it's very routinely, you know, everyone's got their little green buckets. That's you get out with your little bucket, and then that's enough for a bite. I thought, I'm just going to lever it in. Not like mile standard, but go back to using particle a lot more. Put some boardies in there for a treat. But yeah, I started fishing the point. And I do like a drive-by night. So I go somewhere, stop off at the point, fish the night, not catch anything, but 2 full buckets. So go out there. I don't like the idea of turning up just to bait up and then going. That's just a bit. So I did that for a few nights, and then I remember I did a Tuesday night. All the fish down the other end. I thought, I just fish down there, caught a few, but on the way out, there's no one else there. And I thought, I'm gonna put the rest of my bait out on the point. The next morning, Gary, one of the bailies around me, he was like, "You been fishing that point this week?" I was like, because I didn't want to say I'd baited it. Yeah, I did last night in there. He says, "It's black with them out there." And they'd been getting there, but not in massive numbers, which is probably the reason why no one ever really fished it. But I'd sort of condition them to, when they come out of the reeds, they'd go across the white stick bar, and then they'd find that. Do you know what I mean? And so yeah, I started fishing that, and it was just crazy. When we're doing one rotor, it was like I wanted to. The wind was blowing southwesterly, which is a terrible wind to fish in on that feature, because your bow and your line on them bars, it's just so you can't feel your drop. It's just a nightmare. But I thought, I've got to go in there because got them out. I literally put out 10 kilo particle and 5 kilo boilie. Thought it's just going to get it out there now, then I can just keep topping up throughout the trip. It's about 6 o'clock at night. Had some food and drinking tea with Albie, and just got dark and my rod's gone. I'm fishing match the hatch boilies over it as well. I'm not fishing like little treats over it. Just I thought, how have they gone through? Or I've either got really lucky, or they're chowing down out there. Picked up into it, and it's just like that creaking noise when your rod's really bent and your line's like, this is a lot. Yeah. It's gone. I thought, thanks, wedge me. Because they're pricks for wedging you behind the bar. Yeah. Because it's so steep. You know, it's like, and you go in a boat, you just go, boom. Yeah,
straight
above
up.
them, you're fine.
But your line angle's so rubbish, and there's this stuff they call green eels in there. That's like this ropey, horrible stuff, and then they just sit and dive in there.
Yeah.
I'm not at, and Albie's just gone stumpy peck. Just called the carp straight away. He'd been there that long over the years. Just knew what carp it was. And he was stumpy peck. It's so funny. Let it in. I was like, "Hey, stumpy peck." He went, "Yeah, it's a prick." It literally just goes
solid.
It flat rods you and just goes in the worst bit of shit it can find. Yeah, I caught 12 that weekend.
Whoa, that's good going.
It was just, I used so much bait. It was just, really enjoy. I love fishing over bait. You know what I mean? Like just seeing slicks and shows and
confidence wise,
it's just nice fishing.
Yeah,
having a little nap on it in the afternoon, like listening to TalkSport on a Saturday, all the games being played, and you just sort of, it's just I love that.
Yeah.
Because normally if I'm fishing, when I was, if I was fishing and working and whatever, because I used to do a lot on my laptop.
Yeah.
So if I did a night and I had features to write, I would sit there in the morning and write them up, which it was fine with me, but being able to go, nah, go away.
Yeah.
And just it was just the bollocks. See, I fished there for 3 years, had a couple of years away, and then I've rejoined this year just because carp fishing's gone so crazy. I just had to find somewhere else that was just quiet.
That's your piece of serenity.
Yeah, like I don't know the lakes. I haven't got enough lakes to sustain fishing at the minute.
It's busy,
so
isn't
busy,
it?
with the whole furlough and everything. I was just like, need somewhere just to disappear. I did last rota. There was 3 of us on the weekend.
Mega, isn't it? Yeah, that's mega.
On 25 acres, like.
Not anymore, mate. You've put it on the podcast. It's going to be busy.
No, looked off list.
No, nice one, mate. But in terms of the venue, the future on there, it's pretty undeciphered, no?
It's been under threat for 20 years, but the threats now, I can remember years ago, the whole Save Elstow Pits thing?
Yes. Yes.
It's getting quite serious now. I mean, it's basically a gold mine for anyone that wants to fill it in.
Yeah.
And the delightful HS2 that, HS2, they've got a lot of waste to put in. and a 25 acre lake with 30 feet of, it's good, isn't it? Worth a lot of money to them.
What we haven't gone down in this podcast, and I don't think I can show my WhatsApp history with you, is the global conspiracy theories / general all-round proper news updates that you give me down Wildbore, mate.
I think the thing with HS2 is, you'd go on forever, couldn't you? But we're all being told, use paper straws, do your bit for the environment. We do our bit. They can railroad half the country to save someone 20 minutes on their journey.
Yeah.
That's fine. If I've got a protected bird in my chimney, God forbid I cannot touch it. But the devastation that thing is going to cause is fine. So I don't like the hypocrisy of a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's the future is up in the air. They just don't know. Like, they've started to pump it now.
Have they?
Yeah. That's the thing, like, Jake couldn't do anything to his house because there was bats in his roof for 9 months. So he's homeless, can't do anything to his roof because there's bats there. Right, I understand that. But all the wildlife that's at the lake, their newts, that doesn't matter.
No.
Do you know that's what bothers me?
Yeah.
When there's money involved, that's what. So yeah, it's someone's land. They're entitled to do whatever they want with their land, but it's just sad to potentially see it go.
Catch them while they're there, mate. While you can.
Well, that's it. I don't know when. How it's going. It could last another 10 years. We don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully.
That's why we did a film with Steve last year to document it, really, because nothing's ever been documented over there, film-wise.
Yeah. Be sad to see.
People have seen Pit 2 because of the mother and the twin, and that was the sort of famous. Pit 1 was just ferocious and normal. It was like they didn't want names on there.
No.
It was very like they're pretty nasty. Like zip the door down if someone walked in the swim. And I remember someone telling me about a named angler fished a few nights during the week, came back, went home for a night and came back for his draw. And one of their chaps said, "What are you doing here? This is for working men." Like, they're really like,
Yeah.
"You're a scum." He just drove up, and just really quite. They wanted just to keep it
Protecting it, aren't they, essentially?
Yeah, and it was always known as the Bedfordshire clay pit.
Yeah, that's right.
I never forget someone. I think someone put it in Carp talk. The King of Elstow caught from Bedfordshire clay pit. And Crow put something up. I was like, oh god.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it has been. But that was when it was. At the time, there was 65 fish over £35 in 2001. That's
mega.
There was nothing like it.
No.
So they tried to keep that stump. But nowadays, you just got lots of lovely 30-pounders.
Yeah. Long may they continue, mate.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. One place we haven't mentioned is Cassian.
Oh, mate. What an
That's
episode on there.
Yeah. That was like on and off. When did we first go? 2014.
But Tom Anderson, everybody has told me this. I mean, I've spoke to Steve Briggs. I've spoke to absolutely everybody who's fished on Cassian. And Tom is incredible on that place, isn't he? He is the boy.
Of all the fishing I've seen anyone do over the years, styles, lakes, I've never seen someone know a lake and execute everything so well as him on there. It's a joke. Like, I'd never fished anywhere that big before. He's like, "Oh, we're going Cassian in March." I'm like, I think I'd fished in France once. Like, do you know what I mean? Other than match things. I was like, well, it sounds pretty hard. Days only as well.
Yeah.
So we hired this sheet and we're just fishing the days. And was it 1,300 acres or something? No, it's fine. They're going to spawn here. So we need to be here before they go in there. Right, okay. He just knew every time we went over the years, he'd look at the water level, the conditions, whatever's going on, and just go, they're going to be here. And they were. Like, it was really, I mean, one day, the second trip we went, we found them, and with one rod we caught 17 that day.
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was literally drop. One of us would go out and drop it. One of them would hold the rod, the braid sinking, and it just go. Whoosh. Do you know when you're like, yeah, when you whip your spot up and the braid just goes.
Yeah,
like
just picks up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you remember your first fish on there? Talk me through it, because it is monumental as a place. Like, yeah, there's nothing quite like it in terms of how it's romanticised, and everybody would love to catch a carp from Cassian if they haven't already. But that first fish on there, it's got to be pretty magical.
Mine was a koi.
Oh, classic. Go on. Still though.
Yeah, what did we? Yeah, so the first few days was a real struggle. Third day, I was like borderline broken. It was pissing it down all day. You're not allowed a stove, you're not allowed a bivvy. Or it was super strict then. It not long gone to days only.
Okay.
So we was like proper petrified of like breaking rules. So I literally put my mat in the tree and I stood under my mat all day.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
That was literally it. I was thinking, what the heck am I doing here? You know what I mean? It wasn't a bit of my, that wasn't my sort of fish anyway.
No.
I appreciate what Cassian is and how mega it is, more so now than, by the time I was thinking, this is a shithole. Do you know what I mean? It was at the bottom of the West Arm, which isn't the best arm for beauty and, but then, yeah, I was really like down on that. And then Penning came that day. We went and picked it up from the airport. You know, we had a bit more of a giggle. Another like new person came, so it was a bit more. I'm trying to think what happened. Yeah, so I caught that. That's it. Penning, I got out a bite, and obviously I was like super excited. And then so I was in the swim, and then I'm like, you're just expecting this big white, you know. He's like, it's a fucking goldfish. I was like, what the? So it was still nice, but obviously
carrot, literally.
It was like a, yeah. You could, you know, it's a koi, not like an out and out carrot, but I was still happy. Like, it's a nice £30, nice fish.
Oh mate, yeah.
And the next day, I remember going over there. Penning was in the left hand side of Ellis Point. I was in the right hand side. Adam caught a catfish because we're going over just as it's getting like it was superly early. Gone over there. He's put his out. I've literally just got like this. Swung me rigs off me rod tip, my rod eyes. Semi-checked the up point. The bait was still there from yesterday. I was like, should be right. And attached a stringer, which I'd already got in my little bucket. Flicked it out 20 yards or so. Both of them. Set them. And when I laid on the sand and went to sleep. Penning caught a catfish about half hour later. So when we dealt with that and I've gone back to sleep, when I did get a bite, all I've got in my head is catfish. So my tip's just flown over. And I picked up the rod and it's just like, zzz, I'm thinking, fucking catfish. So I'm like, I didn't even acknowledge that it could be a carp. So I've started to really lean into it. I was livid. I was absolutely fuming. I'm like, you're not taking any more line. And it turned. And I kept seeing these bubbles going along. I thought, it's definitely a catfish. And this point, Adam's asleep. He's got his earplugs in because my story was shocking. And I've seen this gold flash. I was like, it's carp. I've looked round. There's a net. So I had to go back 10 yards to get this net. Gone to like put it in the water and like move it along a bit and it snapped. I was like, shit. So I'm shouting Adam by now. I know it's a carp. He's asleep. I'm shouting him like, I need the net from at the top. And as I'm turning round to shout him, I'm like gradually graining a bit of line on this carp. Didn't even look that it was pretty much 4 foot in front of me.
Oh, no.
Adams woke up and he was like, what's up? I said, I've got one on. I need, can you set the net up for us, please? And he was like, he put his glasses on and went, holy fuck. I didn't realise that the carp was next to me and it was like that wide. So he set up this net, ran in and netted it. I'd never seen a carp that big before. He'd never seen a carp that big before. And I was like, how big is it? And he was like, I don't know. And he was just, bless him, shouting Cassian at the top of his voice. All the workers on top of the hill were waving. And he was like, Cassian, baby. And I was like, I need to go and get Tom. Tom was right down halfway at the west arm because he's dot of a bed chair. So I've like wound in the rods, the other rod. Adam secured the fish and I've boated down to go and get Tom. And I remember it was a still misty morning because the sun takes a while to come over the big mountain sort of. So it's still shaded. So the bridge was in full sunlight, but we were in a shaded area. So there's mist coming up. I just landed this massive carp. Like it was the bollocks. I rang Jake to tell him.
What did he say?
Jake was sat at, what was it, Boddington Reservoir to film with Steve Ringer.
Oh, the Guru's thing that he did.
To go and catch it, yeah. And he was like, said, well done. He was like, wow, so you're at Cassian. I'm about to film a carve fest.
Pretty much the same as Boddington.
But yeah, I went and got Tom, woke him up as he was shattered. And he's just like, I was like, I've got a good one. He's like, what? Like really in a startled sort of thing. And he was like, how big? I'm like, we don't know. It's massive. He sort of got up and hugged me and we've gone round there. And yeah, it's 65 something. But because it was Kevin Ellis Point,
yeah,
I had to have the shot of like grappling this monster.
Nothing to do with the fact that you can't hold him that big.
I did struggle.
It's a big old unit. That
it's weird. I think to myself, I'd be all right. I think because I was so tired that I'm not weak, but do you know what I mean? I was just like, I just had no energy. So tired.
It's massive though, that fish, mate.
Yeah, it was a lot easier to cradle it like Kevin.
That's a dream, mate. Literally a dream fish. Catch of a lifetime.
I think at the time as well, it was the biggest in there.
Was it?
Yeah, there's a couple that have gone bigger now, but yeah, the local French guys were like, that is the big one.
The big one.
Thing. And Tom went and caught it that September.
No way.
Yeah, I caught it in March and he caught it in September at 67.
Go on, the Wildbore. Best fish you've ever caught? Definitely. Or not? He's thinking now.
It's hard to say. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because it was like, I think because so few of the people have held that, probably would be, you know. I can think of nicer looking fish, but they've been held by loads of people. You know, there's that one I don't. Yeah, Cassian's pretty.
Oh, mate,
cool, isn't it? And that is a big one.
She be a big one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we did quite a bit over. To be fair, this was like me and Tom going to everyone in the office. Yeah, we're going to go over there, do a lot of work, test this out.
Absolute nonsense.
Scam a jolly.
Jolly up.
We did like test stuff. That was we first started doing the krill active.
Oh, don't give it the big in here just because you're on a podcast. You basically went for a few jolly up trips and you've landed good.
It was a jolly. Don't get me wrong, 100%. But we had excuses to make.
Yeah,
good
from you boys.
Yeah. We're doing this. We're doing some filming, and we had like these little handy cams capturing.
Intense shoot, done absolutely nothing. But you have caught 60 from Cassian.
Yeah. But then we did go back to actually film it when we could film.
Penning caught that.
Yeah.
And didn't Marcus Howard catch a good one as well? Did he? Or am I imagining that?
He had nice fish. Then he had a big one though.
No, did he not? But Penner's had that the snark.
Tom stayed on and caught loads.
Yeah, machine on there.
But it's a mega lake.
Yeah.
When that first trip we went, pricks. They told me there were scorpions. So they're like, "Oh yeah, Dan, have you got boots?" I'm like, I'm not normally that gullible. Do you know what I mean? But I was like, "What for?" It's like scorpions are really bad down there. I did Google it, and there were scorpions down there.
Did you Google it and it came up as scorpions?
Yeah. I had a scorpion in the shower. Not in that kind of way. When we was in Italy, I was having a shower and there's a pissing scorpion on the floor. I was like, what the fuck? So like after that, and then they said this, I've Googled it, south of France, there are scorpions. So I'm thinking, well, we are in a remote area. So we're going over these rocky banks in the half light, and I'm like, fucking scorpion. Turns out, and then they'd get like a bit of sand, dig a hole out of it, and go, Dan, look, scorpion hole.
Oh my days!
Took me a few days to
fallen for that, mate.
Don't know, tired, delirious, I guess.
That's your weakness on
They got me though.
On Elstow, those scorpions on Elstow are rife, mate.
And horseflies.
Oh yeah, they're bad.
Pricks.
They are not the
horrible.
ones. No point in your existence, is there? Horseflies and wasps. What are you doing here?
Well, I did see a wasp eat a damselfly the other day, which is interesting.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but horseflies, no, they hospitalised me when I was where was I? Linear, early years. Drove down there in my 1 litre Polo with a mate. Got set up, got out, got bitten, and I thought, oh, that hurt. Didn't think anything of it. My leg was just one big blob. I couldn't bend it. So he had to drive me back. I had to have penicillin, and it's shocking. No, we kept going back to Cassian. We kept going back to Cassian, and I went with a mate, Jason, actually, in the summer. We saw Briggsy and Jonesy there. Joan. At the campsite, and it was 41 degrees. Oh. And it was just disgusting. But we were sitting there in the daytime, it was so warm. The water was 29 degrees, so you just lay in the water. It was the bollocks. Hardly caught anything. Then I was laying there, and then the line sort of caught my ear, and it's tight. I thought, what's going on there? I looked around, my tip's bending over. I thought, I've got one. I picked up into it, and I was like, this feels weird. It feels small. Then it feel heavy. Then it feels small.
What?
I thought, what? And Jason with the net, he's like, what the heck? As it came up, there's this like flash of greeny colour, a little round disc. He's like, mate, you've got a cabbage. I'm like, a cabbage, it's moving. As it came up, it was a terrapin.
A terrapin?
I looked this terrapin cleaning the bottom lip, and it was an aggressive little shit and all. So I had to land it, and he'd retract his head back in his little cage, and he'd come flying out, lashing out for you and try and bite you.
Oh, you're beautiful.
So we'd have to dangle a finger in front of him to try and get him a nip us. He'd come flying out, neck him, took the hook out, put him back, and I told Steve that night, I was like, got a terrapin today, expecting him to be like dropping his tea in shock. Oh yeah, they're bastards now. It's like a done thing. And we'd run out of battery in the North Arm. How hot it is. We had to row back to the central, to the bridge, because we didn't see anything in the North Arm. Got to look at the south. And we're rowing back, and it was so hot. Got there, bless him, Mick Murray was sat in the shade, stopped off at him, he gave us a beer. And started seeing these carp jump around the corner. I was like, right, we're going. Beard round. Rode round, set up really stealthily, flicked out some rigs, they're still rolling. We was like, oh, we're going to get one. And I've just seen this little black dot over the middle rod. I was like, what the fuck was that? It was like, but the water sort of like rocks around it. I thought it's a frog. And this black dot went, got a liner, came back up, moves along, pissing terrapin. Did all our upbaits, and
You're joking?
I didn't want to redo them because the carp were there, yeah.
What is your current Cassian PB terrapin, mate? How big were you saying?
I didn't weigh him.
What are you saying? You a good estimate, though?
It's quite big.
Double?
A few kilos. No.
Not a double.
It's turtle, isn't it?
Turtle, imagine. That's, an interesting turn of events. I didn't think terrapins were knocking about.
Bad problem now, apparently. Never any issues with Poisson Chat, or I never caught a catfish from there. But
You've never caught a catfish either?
no. But yeah, terrapins were.
Teenage.
One crazy thing from casting, we decided to put an underwater camera in. Where we caught them 15 odd fish from that day was down by the barrage, and you fish towards this roped area. It was on what we thought was a sandy ledge of around 15 foot deep. So we were like, right, we'll put the underwater cameras in here. We can have the leads going up to the rocks, have a generator up there and just run it. So Tom's never done any diving, but he's got 2 cans of spare air, a safety knife, some goggles, and was like, let's do it. A wetsuit. We've gone to practice the day before, and wetsuit's buoyant, isn't they? He couldn't get down. This is so bad, but we've strapped a bag of rocks to his back.
A bag of rocks. You basically signed his death warrant.
And, so we're on the side there, and before we've launched to drop these cameras, he sat there. I can just visualise it now in his wetsuit with a fag and a Heineken in each hand.
Oh.
And he's like, right. I said, Tom, are you sure? But he doesn't give. Yeah, he's like, yeah, loves it. Goes down there. So he's like, right, I've got 65 seconds or something of spare air. I think they call it spare air.
65 seconds?
He's got no time at all. He's got to go down there, place the camera and put it up. He's like, time me. I can hold my breath and I've got my air. 1 minute and 20.
You're not meant to hold your breath when you're diving either. That's
no,
not good.
he breathed through this spare air thing.
Right.
He said, 1 minute and 20 seconds, pull me up. So Joe's got his little stopwatch. I'm on the rope. Lowered him down, stopwatch starts. We're going down, I'm shitting myself. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, this is dodgy. But it's only 15 foot, we'll be all right. Turns out it was 35 foot. So if I'm lowering down thinking, this is taking forever. Right? Load him down. And he stops. Right, he's down there now. So I've sort of got semi-tightness to hopefully feel him pull. There's so much rope there, you couldn't feel him pulling.
No.
So he was ready to come up after 45 odd seconds. He was done. He was already down there. And he wanted to get up. But he was like this. He couldn't feel me. So we're just at the top going...
Wait.
15. Can you imagine the panic down there?
That is awful, mate.
So he's obviously thinking the rope's loose. All sorts of things must have gone through your mind, right?
And you ain't getting up there just swimming because you're tethered with ropes, with rocks.
He could have took the bag off if he wanted to, so it was a bit safe.
A bit safe.
Then it got to 1 minute 20, and we felt a bit of a tug anyway. 1 minute 18, I thought I felt something. I was like, he's coming up anyway. It happened to be nearly 1 minute 20. Pulled him up, and as he's sort of like emerging, the panic on his face, had a bit of blood coming out his mouth as well. It was a bit dodgy. And he sort of like gone onto the side of the boat and he's like really breathing heavily and like,
oh no.
And he just looked up and just went, that's the bollocks. Like he was buzzing.
What?
Yeah. It turns out we was fishing next to a car. So there was a car down there and the fish were coming underneath by the wheel and then on a sandy ledge.
Sandy ledge with a car on it and you've half drowned your boss.
So funny.
I mean, that is a story and a half, mate. What a life in fishing. What a life in working in fishing. It continues on, mate. But I was going to say let's go for a trip to Cassian, but I'm not up for drowning, mate. I've got a bit more to lose than that. I'm all right. But yeah, what a boy Tom is.
Oh, it was great, and we learnt a lot. Well, one thing I did learn was sharp and hooks did nothing there.
No,
watch him just getting spat out.
Yeah.
But
save that for another time. Wildbore, that's been informative, entertaining, and everything that I thought it would be, mate. But before you go, I've got some specifically tailored Nash quick fire questions for you.
Great.
He loves this because he thought it was going to be the same questions that every guest gets.
Rehearsed this already in my head. I thought this would be easy.
It's a big job for you, mate. I know you don't do many of these sort of public appearances, so I thought I'd throw you a few curveballs. I've actually handwritten these as well, so I might not be able to read them.
I saw that child writing earlier.
Child writing? I've got a stencil out for you, mate, just so I can read them. Right. In front or behind the camera, where would you rather be?
Oh, behind.
Too many jokes, too little time. Leicester City or Leicester Tigers?
City.
Oh. Who would win in a fight, you or your brother Jake, and why?
Me, because he's weak as piss.
Weak as... Tell him the gym story.
All right, yeah. So when we were both like gymming it,
When was that, by the way?
quite a few. I was actually playing tennis as well.
Well, yeah.
I was quite athletic at one point.
Wow.
So go do some weights, and I set him up to how I was having them. I do 10 reps, and I knock it down a couple with the old pin. There you go, Jake. And he's just gone, "Ugh," and his veins just popped out his head, and he could do. He knows he's weak as piss, though. He's not.
Ooh, them be fighting words. One thing that you'd change in carp fishing currently?
Facebook.
Facebook, you just get rid of it?
Yeah.
Fair play. If you had to choose one, drum and bass or country and western music? You look like you like country and western.
The high contrast country and western.
I don't. High contrast. I don't
know
think you
that
can
word.
merge both. You've got to pick one or the other, mate. Dolly Parton, I can see you in the old Lincolnshire.
I'd say drum and bass, to be fair.
Oh, God. Never mind, eh? French public water or Belgium canal?
Oh, public water.
Public water is carpy, isn't it?
Just canals are just. I don't like canals.
Do you know?
No, and there's
What have you got against
barges and
canals?
people and.
People, yeah. People. If you could pick a Cassian, the biggest fishing Cassian which you've caught, but another big fishing Cassian, or the Black Mirror, which one would you take?
Black Mirror.
Oh, no hesitation. Your guilty pleasure. Go on, mate. Keep this relatively PG.
Gardening.
Gardening?
Yep.
Really?
Mm.
What sort of gardening? Just your own garden at home, or you branching
Yeah.
out? Wait,
My
branching
girlfriend-
out?
Girlfriend loves gardening, so I'm more the heavy-handed stuff, like ripping stuff out and that, and she does the. I enjoy gardening because it's quite therapeutic.
Do you?
Mm.
Gardeners
We
World
watch what's his
podcast.
name,
Titchmarsh?
Monty Don,
Monty
on
Don.
a Friday night, rock and roll.
It all kicks around the old Wildbores. Best angler you've had the pleasure of being on the bank with? That is a tough one, mate.
That's impossible to say, really.
It's not, is it? You've been out with me.
Tom Maker for the bite side of things.
Job done.
It's like a robot.
Go on, he's trying to pad this answer out now.
And for the big fish side of things, probably say Miles.
Good call. Nice. Gas Ferrum, all that lot, all... Okay. Joking, mate. I've put you on the spot there. Pub or nightclub?
Pub.
Pub. Not Life in Leicester, mate. What a club.
Awful.
Brilliant.
Life, or was it Republic? Life.
Oh,
Fan Club was the one.
Fan Club was good, to be
All
fair.
the oldies in there boogieing.
Some old school tunes. We've Leicesterised this podcast towards the end.
Sticky shoes.
Last sticky shoes on a night out. Last question. Date night with the missus or hit Elstow on the end of a big pressure drop and a fresh southwesterly?
Day and night with the missus.
Oh, what a boy.
Elstow fish is better in high pressure anyway.
Good save. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and make sure you leave a review. Dan Wildbore, you've been an absolute genius and a beautiful man to have on, mate. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.